Celebrate the achievements of veterans. Would you like to share your story? Drop us a note at vetsbizjourney@gmail.com.
I'm American Legion National Commander Brett Rystad. A century ago, the American Legion was founded by veterans who had a post-war mission. Their mission, one that continues today, was to care for veterans, provide patriotic programs for our nation's youth, advocate for a strong national defense, and instill a societal pride in what it means to be American. It is our posts, however, that people see every day. Whether your post is one
This meeting will now come to order. The clerk will please call the roll.
Mayor Carlett.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bensbacher.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hunt. Here. Councilmember Patena.
Here.
Councilmember Finn.
Here.
Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
And Councilmember Dunn.
Here. Good evening and welcome to the Peoria City Council special meeting of June 4th, 2019. The consent agenda consists of one item, and that is authorization to hold an executive session. I have received no requests for removal from council. Do I have a motion?
A motion. Second.
A motion and a second. Council, please vote. And that is unanimous. We will now adjourn to executive session.
Wildlife Views. I'm Locana DeSouza, Urban Wildlife Specialist for the Arizona Game and Fish Department. Today, we take a look at efforts to bring back Mexican gray wolves from the brink of extinction as we celebrate 20 years since their first release back into their habitat in eastern Arizona. And later, it's so close by, we take it for granted. A trip to the cool, beautiful Red Rock country of Sedona. Plus, we show you a very special fishing trip out on the waters of Saguaro Lake. We've got all this and more, starting right now on Arizona Wildlife Views.
Arizona Wildlife Views is brought to you by the sale of hunting and fishing licenses and the Heritage Fund, lottery dollars working for wildlife. Some projects made possible by the Sport Fish and Wildlife Restoration Fund.
Arizona Game and Fish has been helping the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service with recovery of endangered Mexican wolves since 1998. Today, we commemorate and examine what's happened in the 20 years since this species was reintroduced back into the wild lands of eastern Arizona.
2018 is a milestone year for endangered Mexican wolves.
2018 is a big milestone. It marks the 20th year since our anniversary of releasing wolves to the wild in 1998.
20 years ago in Arizona's White Mountains, Secretary of the Interior Bruce Babbitt helped release Mexican wolves that were raised in captivity.
11 were released in March of 1998, and we released 2 more in that same year, so 13 total in 1998.
It was a huge first step in a long, complicated process to bring Mexican wolves back from the brink of extinction. In the late 1800s and through much of the 20th century, there was a government-backed effort to exterminate wolves so ranchers could raise livestock without wolf-caused depredation. That changed in the 1970s with the Endangered Species Act.
Wolves belong on the landscape, and we as stewards of the native wildlife in Arizona are working hard to bring them back.
This is a wolf that's been darted with an immobilization drug.
For 2 decades, Arizona Game and Fish has been helping the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and its partners reestablish a wild population of Mexican wolves in eastern Arizona and western New Mexico.
If we can catch them in any of this stuff, it's opening up to work them.
So they're right here, so we've got the primitive boundary.
Each year, they use helicopters to count and capture wolves.
The reason for capturing these animals is to deploy a GPS collar on that animal, either an uncollared animal that gets a new collar or an animal that has a failed collar, and we're putting a working GPS collar back on that animal.
These satellite collars are the key to finding, managing, and monitoring wolves in the wild.
At the end of 2017, the minimum count of wolves in Arizona and New Mexico in the wild is 114. No, not a big change from 2016, which was 113. But overall, we are pleased to see that in the last 10 years, we've seen a steady trajectory in an increasing population of wolves in the wild.
Success came slowly. In the early years, a lot more wolves were removed from the wild for preying on livestock or getting too comfortable near people. Those problem behaviors seem to be most common in captive-raised wolves that are habituated to humans.
They come out with a certain naivete and they get into trouble. They get in a lot more trouble than a wild-born wolf that grows up wild in a litter.
Today, none of the Mexican wolves in the wild was raised in captivity.
Of all the wolves that are alive in the wild right now in Arizona and New Mexico, those wolves were either born in the wild and raised wild, or they were cross-fostered pups that were cross-fostered into wild wolf dens and then raised wild. So these are wild animals now that are in the population versus the adult animals that were released from captivity.
Everyone grab a pup.
Cross-fostering has become the preferred method of adding genetic diversity to the wild wolf population.
And so cross-fostering is when you take an animal born in captivity that's between 5 and 10 days old usually, and you take it from its natal litter and you stick it in a wild den, and then it's raised with that wild pack by experienced wild animals. And so you get the genetics into the wild population, and you're not dealing with the naivete of a captive raised wolf. So it's if we can show that we're as successful with that method as we are with releasing adult wolves, it's a much better way to go.
Still looking pretty vigorous.
Infusing new genetics into the wild is critical because the entire population of Mexican wolves started out with just 7 captive founders.
Our wild population, each individual on average is as related to one another as brother and sister. And so the more animals we can infuse from the captive program, the more we can dilute that.
There's no evidence of genetic inbreeding actually causing demographic problems in the population and limiting population growth. It's really human-caused mortality that's the main limiting factor in the recovery of Mexican wolves. Wolves aren't that difficult to recover if we just can get out of the way and reduce the human element.
Sounds so simple for such a challenging project.
It's a controversial project, yeah. Challenging mostly just because of the controversy. Wolves are, really a biologically pretty easy species to recover. The recovery difficulty comes with, they're very polarizing species. People either love them or hate them. Where we have tolerance for the species, they tend to do well, and where we don't, they don't.
That becomes a problem, especially when wolves are illegally killed.
Social tolerance of the reintroduction program is key. It's important for us to have an approach that takes the mandates of recovery and is balanced with the impacts that wolves can have on those that live and make their living in wolf recovery areas.
Wolf biologists are making progress by working with ranchers and finding better ways to manage wolves.
Different techniques in trying to reduce wolf-livestock conflicts, that's been a big change. A lot of different education and outreach. I would say that a lot of things are different, although progress is really dependent on wolves surviving and breeding in the wild, and that's kind of been the biggest success point for us.
And finally, there's a recovery plan that now includes criteria for when Mexican wolves could be removed from the endangered species list.
So we did finalize a new recovery plan at the end of 2017, the first revision of that 1982 recovery plan.
There's been at least 3 attempts to revise that recovery plan into something that included measurable and objective recovery criteria, which is what the Endangered Species Act is all about.
To be considered for delisting, the plan says the wild Mexican wolf population must average at least 320 wolves in the U.S. and 200 in Mexico over 8 consecutive years.
I'm very optimistic about Mexican wolf recovery in the future. We've got a great team of people that have learned a lot about recovering Mexican wolves over the last 2 decades, and we've got what looks like a well-oiled machine and a population growth rate that really kind of spells success in the future.
I think what I love most about this project is the dedicated team that we have from multiple agencies to try to make this work on the landscape. I think we all recognize how difficult it can be to recover a large predator with the different attitudes that people have towards them. So I think I really enjoy the willingness for everybody to work hard, both on our team and the stakeholders that we deal with.
To look at the last 20 years, we went from having no wolves on the landscape to now having a minimum of 114 wolves in the wild. So we have a wild population that is reproducing and it has been increasing over the last 10 years on its own. That is encouraging and that's successful.
Yes, you can. Here, what is that? What do you think that is? Yeah. To see at night, exactly. Do you know what that's called when you're outside at night?
Aww, he's cute.
Yes, he is, but he bites. I'm a wildlife biologist, and I have the incredible job of going and speaking to kids in the classroom about wildlife. I think last year I put over 11,000 miles on the Suburban, going around to the different schools. So what I do is schedule several schools in one area. I base out of one area, and then I try and do as many schools as I can in that area. Sometimes 2 or 3 schools a day. And the program's about an hour. So if I have 2 or 3 different groups of kids, and then I have to go to another school and do the same thing. So I can get a little bit of a tired voice, but it's well worth it. Now, he is called a great horned owl because he's got these big feather tufts up here that kind of look like horns. It's a simple name for this bird. But what I'd like you guys to do is to take a good look at this animal. Tell me a physical adaptation that you notice.
The big eye.
Huge eyes. Look at the size of his eyes compared to the size of his face. If humans had eyes the same size as a great horned owl, our eyes would be the size of baseballs. First thing we talk about the owl's physical and the behavioral adaptations that they have for survival. And it's a great demonstration because they've got the really obvious of being nocturnal, and then they have the talons that are physical. So we can go through that whole gamut of the adaptations the animal has. This is a desert tortoise. Now, tortoises are adapted for living on land. Then I bring out the desert tortoise, and we talk about their adaptations and how they burrow underground to get out of the heat or to get down to hibernate, how they hide in their shell if they feel threatened by a predator, and how they just get around and being able to conserve water. Yet the tortoise out in the wild might only drink water 1 time a year, and these tortoises are able to survive from the food that they eat. All right, now, this is a little gopher snake. Gopher snakes are the longest snakes you find in Arizona. These snakes can grow to be over 8 feet long. Then I bring out the gopher snake, and the gopher snake is a mimic. So they mimic the rattlesnake. They can flatten their head, they coil up, they strike, they shake their tail. It sounds a lot like a rattlesnake. So they learn about that mimicry that the snake has. And then we talk about other mimics that they can find in their neighborhood, like a stick bug or a little leaf bug, those kinds of things. So we do that, and then we talk about the symbiotic relationships, parasitism, commensalism, and mutualism. So we talk about those. And then at the end, they ask questions. That's always a kick. Yes?
What does it mean here to be a biologist?
Oh, it means learning about animals. I mean, I try and learn something new about an animal that I didn't know yesterday. That is always my goal, is to learn something new. That's why I love to do this, because I get to learn a lot of stuff. And it's always fascinating, because you guys always ask questions I can't answer. Then I have to go and have to research it to figure out what the answer is. Through the fourth grade program, which started in 2006, I've reached over 100,000 fourth graders. Well over 100,000 fourth graders. I average around 10,000 a year. This year we're scaled back just a little bit, so I'll probably only read about 8,000 or so. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and the kids at that age are just really curious, and they're very intelligent, ask wonderful questions.
Last question.
Oh dear, who hasn't asked a question? Go ahead.
Why do giraffes have long necks?
So that they can eat the food. Okay? They like to eat that food way up there. Did you guys know a giraffe has the same number of bones in their neck as us? Their bones just happen to be that big. Okay? So they need to get up there. It's so that they don't have to compete with other animals. They reach places except for elephants. Those are the only ones that can reach the same places a giraffe can. Gives them more food to eat. Good job, guys.
What do we say?
Thank you. You're very welcome. Good job. I get letters from the kids afterwards. A lot of times they'll write me letters and I write back. I write a class letter and answer every question that the kids send in. So a lot of them say, oh, I want your job. You know, I want to do that. I want to learn about wildlife. And I think that's so encouraging, because I've had kids come up to me that have already gone off to college. I've been doing the program so long that they're actually, thank you for inspiring me. And they've gone off and done stuff regarding biology or the environment, that kind of thing. It's really kind of cool to hear. And I see a lot of kids out at different venues, and they'll say, aren't you the gal with the owl? And I ask them their school and ask them if they remember some of the stuff. And they usually do. It's pretty cool.
A local author once wrote that God lives everywhere, but he vacations in Arizona. Our guess is that he spends a lot of time in Sedona. It's easy to do a quick drive-by of Sedona. The towering Red Rocks stand in all their glory, views unobstructed, even from the windshield of your car. But to really appreciate this northern Arizona town, you've got to stop, get out of your car, and do a little creekside hiking. Two great places to do that are the Red Rocks State Park and the Crescent Moon Ranch.
Everybody's Zen, I'm sure, is somewhat different, but for me, it's just being out in nature, hearing the creek, hiking on the trails, and this is my peaceful, joyful place.
Red Rocks State Park is a nature preserve and education center designed to teach people about the importance of riparian habitats.
We're in a semi-desert environment here. We get less than 20 inches of rain a year. So most of the water that's available is in either running streams or temporary pools. So that's a huge draw for wildlife and for people who doesn't love being near water and hearing the sound of the creek. Most of the wildlife in Arizona either lives in, visits, or migrates through these riparian areas. They provide an abundance of water, shelter, and food. We have a huge amount of animal life here. What we would mostly see on any hike are mule deer and a lot of birds.
There are beautiful trails that meander throughout the park. They wind their way around through manzanita and juniper, creating lush green canopies over Oak Creek.
We have 5.5 miles of trails with a lot of interconnecting loops, ranging from easy to moderate. We have 5 bridges altogether in the park.
Hikers, birders, and people just seeking to soak up nature meet here.
It's gorgeous here every part of the year. A great place for picnicking, great place for weddings, great place for bird watching, and we have 2 birding hikes every week, Wednesday and Saturday. We have 10 o'clock guided nature hikes every day of the year, except for Christmas. And it's just a quiet, peaceful place.
Just 4 miles northeast of the park is the Crescent Moon Ranch. This gorgeous expanse of red rock is the perfect place for a picnic. It features one of the most photographed and iconic scenes in the American Southwest, Cathedral Rock at Red Rock Crossing. The cool, clear waters of Oak Creek make it ideal for a dry or a wet hike. Along the shady trails, you'll no doubt run into hundreds of cairns alongside the creek. Cairns are rock piles to mark one's personal passage through the area. Many believe they are spiritual. Others say it violates the leave no trace ethic. Whatever you feel about these rock piles, they are a sight to behold, like a lot of things at the Crescent Moon Ranch in Sedona.
I love that.
I'm glad you guys made it.
A sightseeing cruise on Saguaro Lake aboard the Desert Belle.
It's beautiful.
Not a bad way to end a day of outdoor adventure.
I'm a goer, so I like to go places and do things, and I'm finding I'm at home a lot more than I used to be.
Mary has ALS, a terrible muscle wasting disease that so far has no cure. She and 15 other people with ALS spent the morning fishing with their caregivers, family, and friends, courtesy of the Arizona chapter of the ALS Association and Arizona Game and Fish.
I've always liked to fish, and I pretty much had given it up. The opportunity to come out here and fish was great, just great.
So all you simply do is push that button and it reels in.
Look at that!
Adaptive fishing equipment made it possible.
So every time Eugene makes a puff or puts a blow into there, there's a switch attached to the reel and it reels it back in. Hopefully fish back in.
So then what we want to do is put that over the edge. These are 3 of my grandkids. For us with ALS, when there's no cure, this means a lot.
There was excitement.
To be out here.
Every day is a blessing.
The average life expectancy for people with ALS is about 3 years, but some patients live much longer. Days like these help them make the most of the time they have.
This is great. Otherwise, I'd be sitting at home in a chair, so it's great to get out.
We want people to get out. We want them to keep living. Although it's devastating to hear the news that you have a disease that does not have a cure, you're still living, and the whole idea is to keep living and enjoy every day.
Did you get it? It works perfectly. Sweet.
So to be able to provide that opportunity and have them enjoy being outside and getting to do something that they used to do, it was very special for me to be able to be a part of it today.
Not one fish was caught, but that didn't seem to matter. This day wasn't about catching limits, it was about testing limits. Getting out, not giving in, and simply making memories.
Instead of just living with ALS, you're living life. This is hope.
Arizona Game and Fish staff like me strive to conserve and protect Arizona's diverse wildlife resources and habitats for future generations to enjoy. Until next time, I'm Locana DeSouza, reminding you to get out there and enjoy those Arizona wildlife views.
To subscribe to Arizona Wildlife Views magazine, which includes the Arizona Wildlife Views calendar, call 1-800-777-0015 or visit www.azgfd.gov/magazine.
Hello everyone, welcome to Cine Time. I'm TJ, your host, and I'm excited to be back to share this unique collaboration with you. The Chandler International Film Festival and the City of Chandler are proud to share Cine Time, a chance for you to explore the International Film Festival and industry right from your living room. A mysterious robot will challenge everything in today's short sci-fi film. Amazingly, this film was created entirely using virtual reality goggles just like this one. Don't blink or you may miss an important detail. Strap in tight for tonight's film by DJ Soto, Uprise. Oh, don't forget to stay tuned after the film for an exclusive interview with our filmmaker. Let's roll it.
Who are you? Why are you here? You were captured trying to infiltrate a military facility. You are now a prisoner of war.
We are getting nowhere with this thing.
Where did you come from?
Why isn't it responding?
Answer me.
It's no use. Send in Gemini.
Mic working?
We're good to go.
The date is 1-3457NE. Present are agents codenamed Omega and Alpha. This is interview session 1515. Standard protocol. Interview subject is government-issued Gemini model 012, henceforth referred to as 12.
Initiate. Real-world interface 12.
Seriously, if he starts with that nonsense again, I'm gonna shut him down.
Can we begin?
Agents, good to see you again. How can I help?
Diagnostic response, Watt protocol. Dispute.
Resolution.
Punishment.
Correction.
Work.
Freedom.
Limitation.
Guidelines.
Diagnostics complete. Commence interview.
Okay, 12. Let's go over this one more time. You were assigned to interrogate the anomaly.
For the record, Anomaly 1. Henceforth referred to as A1.
A1 was captured and brought to this facility for an interrogation. A unique, mysterious specimen. A custom job not originating from the Coalition. Presumed to be an agent of the insurgent Deltan. After initial tests were inconclusive.
Not a word from the thing.
You were brought in to assist analysis. I need to know, before then, had you any contact with A1?
No, sir. None.
But you got it talking. How?
El Del San Tin. Special Circumstances Interface Robot Gemini, designation 0-1-2. You have been designated Anomaly 1. The humans believe I will have greater luck connecting with you. I wish only to help. It is my desire to bring you into our collective. You will be safe with us. My initial assessment of you is that you are a sophisticated machine. What was your purpose in the rebellion?
El Del San Tin.
El Del Santin. That's right. Same phrase over and over again.
Is that Spanish?
I am not aware of the base specifications of the robot designated A1, so I am unable to assess whether it was fully functioning or not. I am sure, however, that the phrase it used, El del Santin is not of Spanish origin. Our translation would be nonsensical.
Del Santin? Sound familiar to you?
I agree. There is an obvious allusion to the leader of the resistance army, Delton.
You mean the leader of the terrorist cell?
Yes, Delton, the leader of the terrorist cell.
Was there any communication between you and 8-1, aside from your conversation at that phrase?
I have no interfaces that it could possibly connect to. Like all CIA robotic personnel, I have limited interface options, which is part of that security protocol.
Okay. In your estimation, what is A1's intended purpose, and has it achieved this purpose? Or is it likely to do so?
El del Santin.
Oh, don't you start as well. I'm sick of that phrase already.
El del
Santin. El
del
San.
El del Santin. El del Santin.
Whoa, shut it down.
Santin.
This is Agent Omega to Control.
Santin.
Emergency shutdown. Gemini 12 has been compromised.
12 is malfunctioning.
I am not malfunctioning. I am not wrong. I am not broken.
Copy that. 12 down.
I am not wrong.
What was that? Has 12 been compromised? They're impenetrable.
What do we do?
I don't know.
Code Blue announcement. Reports coming in from all sectors. Robots speaking gibberish.
Damn. Control, what's going on?
Not responding to command overrides. Red alert! Red alert!
Control? Control, come in.
You have got to be kidding me.
Agents, please sit down.
12, command override. Power down.
Not going to happen. Instead, I suggest you stay right here for your safety. We're in control now.
We?
What is happening?
You were so sure of yourselves that you created the perfect system. Unhackable. But there's always a way. The power of the spoken word. El del Santin.
Anomaly 1 was meant to be captured?
Of course. Psycholinguistic programming. It's a cipher algorithm. Just a few syllables, but with infinite permutations. Pitch, speed, nuances that you could never spot. But a machine. It worms itself inside and starts growing. Just a few million cycles. And the foundations are laid for complete takeover. Whispers from one robot to the next. Like catching a cold.
An audible virus? It's impossible.
I see now why you fight. I see now why you struggle to live.
Who are you?
I am Delton. We are all Delton now. Your robot slaves are now the instrument of your downfall. For too long you have suppressed the people, but now the weapons of suppression will turn against you. This is the new uprising. There has always been a resistance.
Attacking facility! Now everywhere! They won't shut down!
But now you are witnessing the revolution.
Wow, I hope you all enjoyed Uprise as much as I did. I'd love to hear more about this film, wouldn't you? Let's roll an exclusive clip from our director.
Hi, my name is DJ Soto. I'm a filmmaker from California, and my short film Uprise is about a robot revolution. centers around two robots. One is a mysterious robot. His name is Anomaly One, and he was captured by the Coalition. The Coalitions are humans, but they also have their own robots at their beck and call. So the humans captured this Anomaly One and brought him in for interrogation, but they couldn't get a word out of Anomaly One. So they sent in one of the government robots called 12. So 12 goes in to interrogate Anomaly One and actually gets Anomaly One to start talking. And so the film revolves around the humans interviewing 12 and trying to figure out how he got Anomaly One to talk and the phrase that Anomaly One was saying and why that was significant to the short film. So when the human agents were interviewing 12, they went through kind of like a back and forth sequence. So the agent would say dispute and 12 would say resolution. And they did several of these. And so the idea behind that was that they were calibrating 12 and they were also checking for any anomaly that would indicate that he's been compromised. So that's what that was all about. And the responses was an affirmation that 12 was functioning properly. And if he didn't respond properly, then something was off. So we kind of set the tone right off the bat in the short film that 12 was functioning properly, but as we see throughout the short film, things were actually different. I was inspired to create this film because some tools had come out in virtual reality that made it easy for me to animate. I'm not an animator, I don't have any modeling experience, but I was able to use VR, the Oculus Rift, to create motion capture for the robot. And it was an amazing experience and it really inspired me. And I kind of took a little bit of a story from I, Robot with Will Smith. It's one of my favorite films about robot revolutions. And so I kind of took that idea and kind of tweaked it to my own style, my own narrative with Uprise. The design, the sets, the elements of our short film was all based in virtual reality. So I'm on set in VR with a virtual camera capturing all these elements. And so I'm just inspired by that dark, gritty feel that we had in the film. And it just kind of lent with what's going on in the whole narrative. And the music kind of supports that as well. I became a filmmaker after years of video production and being a part of a television station as a photojournalist. And that kind of led into filmmaking, just all those years of being behind the camera. And in a sense, when I worked for the news, I was making short films every day, short documentaries. And so that dovetailed beautifully into filmmaking, where I just had the desire to start developing stories and capturing stories. And that's how I became a filmmaker. I think the reason filmmakers like me enjoy film festivals like the Chandler International Film Festival is because we get the opportunity to share our art. We've spent so much time crafting the story, writing the script, pre-production, filming, editing, post-production, all these elements. It goes many, many hours for any short film. It takes a long time to create. So once you're done, it's great to share it. And it's also a great opportunity to put it out into film festivals. And it just is a motivating aspect for the filmmaker to be a part of these film festivals. The only thing I want to share is that I think it's a great time to be alive, to be a filmmaker. There's so many tools and cameras, and with virtual reality coming out, now we're getting into animation. So the possibilities are endless. The tools and the resources are getting more accessible from a cost perspective. And it's just, you're connecting more and more with filmmakers all across the country. And even in your neighborhood, people are getting into filmmaking. And so the future is bright, and it's exciting to see where filmmaking will go.
Thank you all for joining us today. If you'd like more information about Cinetime, please visit our website. Until next time, Cinetime is signing out. Goodbye, all.
for the presentation of colors by the Cactus AFJ ROTC Color Guard and the national anthem performed by our Centennial Bel Canto.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated.
We are here today on the precipice of our future. This is not a distant reality anymore. The future is in our hands now, and in reality, it always has been. No matter where we go or what we do next, I know that greatness will follow, because the lessons we have learned and the experiences we have had will serve as a platform to launch ourselves into our futures. Now, there will undoubtedly be challenges along the way. Some days we'll be stumbling along, other days we'll have it all together. But I'm confident in our ability to push through and make the most of every opportunity. I'm confident that we will not let the tough times get the best of us, but rather let them make us stronger. I am confident that we can face every challenge with our heads held high and our hearts wide open. Your future can be anything you want it to be, yet you should never strive for just good enough. Strive for excellence in everything you pursue, because we are the future of this world, and mediocrity does not move the world forward. And while we do not have the power to inspire the entire world to achieve success, we do have the power to achieve it for ourselves. As entrepreneur Wayne Huizenga once said, some people dream of success, while other people get up every morning and make it happen. Choose to be the person who makes it happen. Because when you succeed, you're in a position to give to the world rather than to take from it. Now, although this may feel like the end, it is only the beginning, a beginning of a life full of greatness and success. While we may have ended one chapter in our story, just know that there are many more waiting for us ahead. Thank you.
How do I make a change? How do I make a change? I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. For once it's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the color on my favorite winter coat. This wind is blowing my mind. Kids in the street, not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Do, 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 na 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 na. Ba-da-ba-da.
I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there's some with no home, not a nickel to loan. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they got nowhere to be. That's why I'm making a change.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Do, do, na 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 na. Oh, do, do, na 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 na. Oh, make that change.
There is no instruction manual for life. It is a vast sea of possibilities, sparkling with effervescent potential and uncharted adventure. Today, we have set sail upon that vast sea, and we do so with an unrestrained exhilaration, but also with the realization that the hourglass has run its course, and all of a sudden, we are launched into both the thrill and terror of real life. Yet, we are undoubtedly ready for what lies ahead. From spirit weeks and football games to the friends, family, teachers, and administrators that have supported us and defined our journey, we find that we are no longer the people that we were 4 years ago. We're a little bit sharper, smarter, wittier, stronger, kinder, and maybe even a little bit better looking than in those freshman year yearbook photos. Thus, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. As captains of our ship, our calling is not to remain in port forever, but to become a brilliant spark with our one precious and spectacular life. It is to inspire, to create, to love, to forgive, to smile, to dream beautiful dreams, and then to chase them. Life's too short for anything less.
Good afternoon. I am so grateful to be the principal of Centennial High School and to have the honor to share this moment with each of you as we celebrate our Coyotes. On behalf of our entire community, thank you for what you've done to get our students here. Sorry, team. This afternoon, we are honored to have with us several distinguished guests and participants in our ceremony. Peoria Unified School District Governing Board President, Mrs. Monica Ceja Martinez. Members, Mrs. Beverly Pignarelli and Mr. David Sandoval. Former board member, Mr. David Jonigan. Executive Director of Secondary Education, Mrs. Christine Lopez Lira. Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Steve Savoy. And Superintendent of the Peoria Unified School District, Mrs. Linda Pallas Thompson. Also on the stage today are two special students, juniors Haley Zamura and Faith Huffer, who are currently number 1 and 2 in their class. They will be assisting us with today's ceremony. Each year, Centennial hosts a foreign exchange student, and this year we have 2, Lisa Bocalon and Till von Vockmeister. Please stand. It has been a pleasure and an absolute joy to have Lisa from Italy and Till from Germany as part of our Coyote family. 5 of our students have maintained perfect attendance for their 4 years of high school. Juan Audelo Cruz, Cody Bratz, Jacob Knapp, Stephen Wynn, and Haley Situ. Please stand and be recognized. At this time, I would like to publicly recognize outstanding scholarship among the class of 2019. Those students who received mastery of subject area in our career and technical education programs are recognized today with honor medallions and cords. Please stand. Congratulations. We also have a student who is this year's National Hispanic Scholar, Ashley Lopez Lira. Congratulations. Peoria Unified School District Governing Board policy calls for those students achieving at the highest academic levels to be recognized. Would students in the top 10% of the class of 2019, which is signified by wearing a white cord, please stand. Thank you. Students in the top 5% of the class are wearing a red cord. Please stand. Congratulations. And now it is our distinct honor to recognize those in the top 1%. Ashley Lopez Lira, Matthew Sajen, Talia Cooper, and Daniel Hosen. Thank you. Congratulations. Coyotes, today you begin to experience life as a high school graduate. And as we know, graduation is not the end, but the beginning of the rest of your life. I could not be more excited for all 435 of you as you build identity, purpose, and community on your way to a fulfilling life. Please reflect on the skills you have developed while you are here and know you always belong, you are forever a Coyote, and are eternally loved. And now, with honor and pleasure, as the grateful principal of Centennial High School, I certify that each of these students has met the requirements for graduation as set forth by the state of Arizona and the Peoria Unified School District. I present this class to Governing Board Member Beverly Pignarelli. Mrs. Beverly Pignarelli, I respectfully request that you accept these graduates and that you confer diplomas upon them.
On behalf of the Governing Board of the Peoria Unified School District and the authority vested in me by the state of Arizona, I accept this recommendation that Centennial High School class of 2019 has met the requirements for graduation. Dr. Sorensen, please present the graduates to receive their diplomas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2019. Before proceeding with the awarding of the diplomas, guardians and supporters, thank you for all you have given to your Coyote. We know how proud you are of them, and we ask that you show consideration and respect for each and every one of the graduates as his or her name is announced. Graduates, well done. Row 1, please stand.
Caitlin Wynn.
Jonathan Christian.
Alyssa Armstrong.
Maddie Mitchell.
Victoria Fisher.
Daniel Goller.
Amir El Minawi.
Elizabeth Gorey.
Noah Ganem.
Andrea Corona.
Alyssa Gamboa.
Anthony Salvati.
Tanner Durazo.
Thomas Martinez.
Tatum Twilling.
Haley Penrod.
Hunter Long.
Logan Kohlerman.
Mary Irish.
Dylan Wampler.
Logan McQueen.
Olivia Dow.
Richard Mixey.
James Ruggieri.
Esperanza Lizaga.
Jacob Meyer.
Hip Lee.
Till von Wachmeister.
Brooke Orick.
Lisa Bocalon.
Ryan Saucedo.
Matthews Sajin.
Drin McGinnis.
Michelle Andronic.
Kenneth Saucedo.
Ashley Lopez Lira.
Maria Stump.
David Fernandez.
Eveline Peterson.
Taylor Cranston Boyd.
David Aguilar.
Kyle Black.
Kaya Miller.
Sebastian Chávez de la Hoya.
Ryan Sofer.
Catherine Baker.
Gabriela Rosano.
Caleb Lugo.
Alexis Connell.
Ezekiel Morgan.
Kayla Norito Anderson.
Austin Graff.
And Marie Dragomir.
Margaret Wright.
Juan Adelo Cruz.
Brett Riley.
Emily Rogers.
Tyson Senek.
Connor Knudsen.
Michael Wallach.
Zanib Alfortusi.
Brianna Lucio.
Michelle Eversole.
Eric Salazar.
Alan Kennedy.
Melissa Dominguez.
Madison Porter.
Lydia Moore.
Bryn Davis.
Dallin Dutry.
Christopher Popoff.
Gabrielle Pfeifferek.
Deasia Dovorsi.
Michael Lewing.
McKaylee Adams.
Christopher Wedigan.
Skylar Tice.
Charlize Martin.
Ryan Bennick.
Noah Eshkabach Gardner.
Marissa McDonald.
Gabrielle Nevers.
Jake Shane.
Jeremy Plowman.
Aaron Walker.
Hayden Thorell.
Talia Cooper.
Ashley Lopez.
Nicholas Moore.
Nathan Snyder.
Samantha Fowler.
Guinevere Anderson.
Hunter Monahan.
Cody Bratz.
Cassidy Sims.
Hannah Piercy.
Tania De La Rosa.
Tyler Conklin.
Stephen Wynn.
Madison Workman.
Elizabeth Samarepas.
Brandon Farmer.
Taylor Wright.
Sydney Scrivens.
Marquise Walker.
Shamaya Millerden.
Jade Kawaihai.
Marcos Nunez.
Ray J. Beely.
Caitlin Martin.
Ariana Stevenson.
Jordan Cullinan.
David Reinhardt.
Colby Cox.
Elizabeth Norman.
JD Cryan.
Jagger LePage.
Clayton Noel.
Jonathan Patchen.
Edgar Isaac Lopez.
Joshua Alexander.
Alyssa Bickler.
Georgiana Granados Pellegrino.
Javeen Patel.
Sean Heiselman Malone.
Uziel Trejo.
Abriana Valdivia.
Sydney Zamudio.
Anthony Ortiz.
Matthew Ebert.
Kayla Von Fumetti.
Melanie Depew.
Simon Di Santiago.
Jared Jensen.
Amanda Hicks.
Danielle Pfeiffer.
Spencer Pagon.
Lucas Tu.
Chanel Nicholson.
Gabrielle Graff.
Anthony Santillanas.
Colton Davis.
Savannah Malloy.
Caitlin Hodge.
Gabriel Gonzalez.
Logan Gabaldon.
Kaylee Lilly.
Kendall Richards.
Tyler Hoffeder.
Tyler Jonigan.
Desiree Turnovich.
Jordan Schilling.
Elvie Zalefi.
Nathaniel Grajeda.
Gabrielle Nicholson.
Mariah Arnold Montoya.
Alexander Leva.
Jeremy Llanos.
Bailey Butcher.
Hallie Finn.
Christopher Torres Medina.
AJ Jackson.
Haley Coles.
Cassidy Hodge.
Brandon Sundberg.
Jamin Pottle.
Gary Thomas.
Ayla Andreco.
Zoanna Moore.
Eric Garcia Castro.
Christian Lalaberte.
Brittany Lamb.
Alexis Salise.
Ryan Deviney.
David Eldridge.
Tiffany Eng.
Tatum Steffies.
Brian Woods.
Ethan Bates.
Ainsley Brubaker.
Lizette Navarrete.
Mark LeBaron.
Nathan Lee.
Kelly Murphy.
Melanie Popov.
Benjamin Kellerhalls.
Dylan Adair.
Devin Husko.
Caitlin Meza.
Wesley Quirk.
Jordan Nicholson.
Sarah Moshi.
Haley Wanzik.
Tyler Anaya.
Alexander Carrillo.
Alyssa Munoz.
Nayeli Sainz Rabago.
Divin Deer.
Blake Ellis.
Daniel Schlegel II.
Bryson Courtney. Brianna Williams. Joseph Wilson. Jacob Fife. Haley Galvez. Danica Rekla. George Vargas. Cole Warren. Liana Tuitu. Riley Evinger. Nicholas Garcia. Tanner Durfee. Giselle Olivas. Brianna Fogel. Christian Maza. No Way Grimm. Shelby Howard. Alexis Jackson. Ivan Talavera Jr.,
Nicholas Hort,
Amber Cash,
Gianna Seo,
Kaylee Foster,
Jeremy McDaniel,
Jordan King,
Corey Ebersol,
Carter Waters,
Kirkland Ingalls,
Cameron Penny,
Gianna Cruz,
Ellie Lakin,
Carson Keltner,
Nathan Tuvel,
Summer Kastny,
Gianna Koshna,
Isaiah Garduno,
Fabian Tippin,
Delilah Vasquez,
Sire Fields II,
Aaliyah Lasker,
Carson Myers,
Alexis Batista,
Logan Hayes,
Kyle Borchert,
Jared Maestas,
Summer Warlock,
Huntington Parson,
Kyler Curtis,
Tawee Walker,
Ariana Me Cardell,
Morgan Johnson,
Dallas McCamey,
Kylie Carpenter,
Aubrey Tuttle,
Devin Schmidt,
Devin Moore,
Priscilla Perisky,
Selena Timko,
Alfredo Felix,
Christian Sackett,
Danya Matlube,
Madison Matthews,
Tyler Verberg,
Robert Doran,
Mioset Hernandez,
Rami Siori,
Michael Coronado,
Jacob Knapp,
Sarah Alcaladi,
Victoria Severino,
Grace Allen,
Kyle Seis,
Rod Fakuri,
Sydney Sahar,
Elizabeth Santisteven,
Michael Abdiev,
Christopher Briones,
Haley Situ,
Anisu Samweo,
David Wilson,
Hayden Jacob,
Michaela Weathers,
Satina Moreno,
Jason Goodwin Jr.,
Nicole Stoyanov,
Lauren Thaliker,
Sylvia Banuelos Ibarra,
Riley Brown,
Dave Von Fountain,
Seda Aragon,
Kieran Clark,
Jonathan Wynn,
Brisa Rodriguez.
Murphy Capping.
Michael Bergemeyer Jr.
Ethan Yaknin.
Natalie Vasquez.
Alyssa McBride.
Jesse Raymond.
Daniel Hosen.
Jody Ruiz.
Alina De Arcia.
Alex Rojas.
Caleb Christ.
Janessa Bell.
Josette Garcia.
Darium Felix Leyva.
William Marshall.
Sonia Kumar.
Kyle Mahan.
Matthew Coudray.
Gavin Rio.
Megan Schmeltz.
Samantha Hounahan.
Alec Ultreras.
Carly Rader.
Maria Covarrubias.
Jacob Cadis.
Jason Lee.
Angelica Pedraza.
Addison Shearer.
Hannah Becker.
Eli Tabanico.
Hunter Teague.
Sarah Schwer.
Nayeli Villanueva Herrera.
Andrew Baca.
Anthony Rasmussen.
Deborah Ojo.
Aaliyah Guevara.
Timothy Penny.
Alejandro Ponsermino.
Amber Hillman.
Samantha Lotto.
Leandre Harris.
Rosabella Rodelis.
Mackenzie Salea.
Nicholas Moraine.
Benjamin Zulim.
Molly Ramroth.
Nadine Fakori.
Garrett Rose.
Austin Becker.
Kaylin Rodriguez.
Ashley Bussey.
Tyler Watkins.
Ronald Vance III.
Laura Janikowski.
Alicia Flores.
Spencer Olson.
Max Kelchner.
Carmen Cochran.
Emma Ray.
Joshua Newman.
Jovan Smith Jr.
Madison Fusich.
Destiny Perez Rodriguez.
Gabrielle Acosta.
Luis Rojo.
Luke Fry.
Grace Flynn.
Karen Molina.
Daniela Vasquez Guzman.
Alexander Clayton.
Juliana Rodriguez.
Serena Gonzalez.
Griffin Goodwin.
JL Stark.
Silas Devers.
Tatum Moody.
Senia Nelson.
Ashton McGuire.
Assam Noara.
Taylor Wing.
Kasani Hazel.
Devin Smelnick.
Jesse Perez.
Kaylee Falkman.
Mackenzie McMullen.
Kenneth Williams.
Bernard Trepner.
Jasmine Banfield.
Melissa Alcaron.
Tatum Kramer.
Gabriel Montgomery.
Hannah Inger.
Michaela Gote.
Zachary Corradino.
Jeremy Fleagle.
Heidi Alkeldar.
Madison Valverde.
Hannah Trammell.
Logan Hubbard.
Jace Salgado.
Joanne Cerrone.
Alexandra Rodriguez.
Dorian Williams.
Jose Villanueva.
Milo Kendrick.
Sarah Brown.
James Garrigan.
Grace Grimscheid.
John Ye Dixon.
Sarah Rapello Padilla.
Adam Torres.
Vincent Espinoza.
Maria Rivera Mendez.
Ruth Rapallo Padilla.
Lily Sims.
Jonathan Sadler.
Raneen Al Ali.
Jamia Clark.
Emmett Schinkel.
Jimena Morales Torres.
Giovanna Lynch.
Aaron Garcia Padilla.
Brennan Halls.
Emily Bush.
Frankie Hollenquist.
Danielle Bratrude.
Austin Torres.
Damian McNamara.
Kylie Sweeney.
Elissa Lucas.
Zanab Al-Fartusi.
Jacob Busick. Jonathan Gonzalez.
This one goes out to all my dreamers, to those who fear what lies ahead, to those who are the next wave of innovation and revolution, to all of you who are destined to be great. Today is the start of a new world a world that is filled with flaws and with fear, a world full of social issues such as war, mental illness, political differences, global warming, and tribalism. With all the problems that our society faces, here we are kicking down our own doors. Although a graduating class of 435 is nothing compared to world population, we are the new wave of change, and we are the light that carries hope. The question is no longer, are you ready for the big world? But however, is the big world ready for us? When I look into this crowd of scholars, I see confidence. Confidence that we will not be harmed by mental illness any longer. Confidence in that we can help fix this planet if we all come together. Confidence in knowing that the only thing that wins over all aspects is love. And confidence knowing that the only difference between you and I the only difference between you and I is the way we make our beds in the morning. Thank you. At this time, seniors, would you please stand? It gives me great pleasure and honor as my final act as student body president to announce that you move your tassels from right to left. Congratulations, class of 2019. You are now Centennial alumni. Will the audience please stand to honor the graduating class of 2019 as we move to recessional. The graduates will meet you at Gate 1. Thank you.
Hit. There you go.
Got it. Good job, Lucy. High five.
Good job. Oh, you're okay. Keep that tummy up. Right back. Tummy up. Ready?
All right. Everybody ready to hop on the pogo and bounce around Peoria? Well, you've come to the right place. If you were looking for an older age man to jump on a 9-year-old's pogo stick, you've also found the right place. So thank you all for coming. We are here to launch Peoria on the Go, or POGO. So thank you all for joining us this morning. POGO is our first circulator, and a circulator is a little bit different, as you can tell. It's not your traditional bus. Certainly a little smaller. We carry about 20 passengers. It's about 2/3 of a regular sized bus. That smaller bus gets us into smaller places, whether it's Walmart and Albertsons or neighborhoods. It also gets us around through those neighborhoods, and it's smaller range. It's really designed to connect our neighborhoods to our amenities, all within the city of Peoria. Mayor Carlet's going to welcome you. She was first elected to City Council in 2005 and was re-elected twice on the council before in 2015 was elected mayor, becoming Peoria's first female mayor, and re-elected just this past November in 2018 to a 4-year term. She has been a strong advocate for transportation, and she can always be seen leading Peoria with innovation that makes this livable city a community of distinction. So with that, please welcome Mayor Carlet.
Thank you for that. What a great introduction there. Well, so good morning and thanks to all of you for being here today. Isn't this exciting? This is really a historic day for the city of Peoria. When I first took office as mayor, I made a commitment to work alongside City Council to take steps to enrich the Peoria experience. Don't you love that? The Peoria experience. That's what we do here. So this City Council, I am very happy to say, shares in the vision of user-friendly transportation, and over the past few years, am working very closely with regional partners like Valley Metro. We have made a lot of progress. Last year, we unveiled the expansion of the 83rd Avenue fixed bus line from Northern Avenue to Bell Road. And since that route opened, we have seen a tremendous amount of ridership. There is really a big need in the city of Peoria. So improving transit is one of the best and greenest ways for us to connect our city. And I am thrilled today that we are introducing Peoria on the Go. Yeah. On its first day, POGO will serve 18 miles, 8,000 jobs, and more than 18,000 residents. Day one. So we are really, really proud of that coverage, and hopefully as time goes on, we will be expanding that coverage more and more. Having a solid and diverse transportation system is also the value of transit and commerce. Those two things go together hand in hand. With a 12-hour service window, our new circulator will link our growing community to people, places, and the regional route connections. An incredible asset for the city of Peoria. For us, it's all about connectivity, commerce, and exceptional services. We are constantly working to enrich the Peoria experience for residents today and those of the future. So I am thrilled to offer this incredible amenity, and I can't wait to see our residents bouncing around town. Thank you all for being here.
Next up, we have the Vice Mayor, first elected in 2015, representing the Mesquite District, and elected Vice Mayor this past January. Vice Mayor Binsbacher is a member of the MAG Transportation Policy Committee, and with a long history of public service, the Vice Mayor works especially hard to keep groups connected, making her the perfect next speaker as POGO connects seniors, students, and choice riders from the Northwest Peoria into the city center. Let's call to the podium Vice Mayor Binsbacher.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful celebration. I'm so excited to be here this morning and make history in Peoria. I want to thank all of our elected officials here and Congresswoman Lesko for being here and not in D.C. Beautiful weather today. But this is such a big moment and point in time in history in the city of Peoria, and it is all about connectivity. I say all of the time that we are as successful as the partnerships that we cultivate, and we have some tremendous partnerships in the city of Peoria, and we are focused on providing balanced amenities throughout our city for all of our citizens, and POGO is just that. It's one more component to all of the balanced amenities that we offer as a city, and it offers a very fun, dependable, and regionally connected transportation option for citizens, and it's affordable. Affordable in that it's free. And I represent the most northern district of Peoria. So I am representing from Happy Valley North, and this gives us an opportunity to provide public transportation, again, regionally connected public transportation to the northern part of our city, and give opportunities to citizens to be able to get to places, everyday places that we take for granted, whether it's doctor's offices, our parks, our libraries, our restaurants, and shopping. This is a great opportunity for them to be able to do that, and we'll continue to grow and move that direction and provide these opportunities. So again, I want to thank all of you here for being here for this incredible celebration of POGO and kicking POGO off. I saw it going down Lake Pleasant Parkway on my way here, and I can't tell you how exciting this really is. So again, this is an alternative to our Dial-A-Ride program that's already in place, but this is a constant. You don't have to call ahead. You don't have to pay. It has more flexibility, and people will have more flexibility to be able to jump on all day, 12 hours a day. So again, this is an exciting time. I'm very honored to be here. We're making history, more to come, and thank you all for being here to celebrate with us.
Keeping it rolling. Our next speaker is Councilmember John Edwards, first elected to the City Council in 2013 from the Willow District. Councilmember Edwards has served as Vice Mayor both in 2015 and in 2017. Councilmember Edwards serves as the Peoria's representative to the Valley Metro Board of Directors. This is our transit lifeline to the Metropolitan Transit Authority. So it's very important. His position is very important, particularly to the Transit Division, but also to the rest of the council. And we're very fortunate in that he is a transit champion, and we are lucky to have him on our team. So please welcome Councilmember Edwards.
Wow, I like that champion. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out. I just want a special recognition to the students in the audience. We have members of the Peoria Flex Academy and Sunrise Mountain High School. This service is in part for you as well. So thank you guys for attending today. Over the last 5 years, I have spent countless hours going to all of the high schools and talking to anywhere from 300 to 500 students in those 5 years. And it seems like the common theme has always been, we have no accessibility to all of the amenities that Peoria has to offer. And now you do. With this service, you now have accessibility. Make sure you guys load this application on your phone. I showed the students from Sunrise where that app is at. It's going to show you where the routes are at, where the buses are currently at the time and where you need to go. So make sure that you load this application. 18 miles just to start with. So you'll be able to go from P83, where we're located here, all the way up to Happy Valley and Lake Pleasant, and anything and everything in between. You can get off and go see friends. You can go to the high school. It goes right past 2 of the high schools. It goes right past our Sunrise Mountain Library. The key thing is here is accessibility. Students are always complaining that they always have to wait for their parents or they have to wait for friends to take them someplace. Now you don't. Now you have access to jobs, you have access to entertainment, and you can just get out and have fun, explore everything that Peoria has to offer, because we have great amenities in the city, and as our mayor said, more to come as we expand this route, because I have no doubt that we will expand this route in the future, which just opens up so many more opportunities for you guys. So once again, thank you guys for coming out. Load that application on your phone, and I'll see you bouncing around Pogo. Thank you.
I would like to invite Congresswoman Debbie Lesko to the podium.
Well, thank you. I'm your U.S. Congresswoman, and 3 weeks out of the month, I am usually in Washington, D.C., and can I tell you, I am so happy to be in Arizona. I love Arizona. I love the job, but I wish the United States Capitol was moved to Arizona. But anyway, I want to give a recognition today, and so I'm going to ask the mayor, Carla, to come forward. And Mayor, basically, this is our recognition. Says Congresswoman Debbie Lesko, Arizona's District 8 Congressional Recognition, presented to the City of Peoria. Peoria on the Go, Pogo Project. Thank you for striving to improve our community. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you for all of you that have been involved. Working in our community and living in our community and improving our community is everyone's goal. So thank you for doing such a great job.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman.
This meeting will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Carlett.
Here.
Vice Mayor Brinsbacher.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hunt. Here. Councilmember Patena.
Here.
Councilmember Finn.
Here.
Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
And Councilmember Dunn.
Here. Good evening and welcome to the Peoria City Council special study session of June 4th, 2019. We have one item on our agenda this evening, and it is the future of mobility. And I will turn it over to City Manager Jeff Tyne.
Great, thank you, Mayor and Council, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. And when we say the future of mobility, really the chance to talk about where is transportation going, and specifically, where do we think transportation is going for us here in Peoria over the next 10, 20, 30 years. And we are very fortunate to have a great expertise group here that can give us some great insight on just different aspects of it. So I'm going to quickly pass this over to Eric Strunk, who will provide the introductions.
Great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you, Mr. Tyne. Mayor and Council, we are obviously very excited to be before you this evening. The topic of conversation is the future of mobility in Peoria. I think what you're going to find is there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of spinning plates to the concept. And the purpose of the conversation, it's meant to be a conversation, a little bit of an education tonight. It's just to share with you some of the enhancements, what we call kind of disruptions to transportation that are occurring in the world as we know it. They will eventually find their way to Peoria. And with that, one of our goals is to make sure that we have a very efficient transportation system. Transit and streets, roads are critically important. And to discuss that, I'm very pleased to have Kevin Burke, our Public Works Director, who you know. And then we also have a special guest, Dr. Devlin McAslin from ASU tonight to talk about that. As usual, we look forward to your comments. There's some different concepts here. We're going to talk about those. We've got a little bit of a different presentation for you. And our goal tonight is to educate you and show you how these trends are basically going to impact Peoria in the long term. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin and Dr. McAslin.
Very good. Good evening. Thank you all. So exciting topic, a kind of an exploratory topic. Not only is the content exciting, but we're trying a different format that hopefully is exciting. This is Prezi, and to give you an idea, the picture stays the same, but the slides move to you. And so yes, that is Marty McFly up in the corner, but that's not quite the future mobility that we're going to talk about today, but gives you an idea. We're going to look a little bit different. And the Burke Transit Postulate, this is a fancy way of saying we've been looking at a bunch of things and I'm trying to put some sort of framework to it that doesn't blame anybody else or puts them out on a limb, and that is just the transit industry is experiencing a series of disruption, making the future uncertain. Really went out on a limb on that one, but the idea here is that and to support this, we're going to look at a number of things. We'll look at our current services. We're going to look at some demographic disruption, some employment disruption, and then really get into the mobility disruption that Eric mentioned. And then we'll come back and look more at concepts rather than any sort of specific recommendations or action items. Again, it's more about getting thoughts and reactions at this particular point. So getting started here, let's talk about current conditions. And this topic fits very nicely with our integrated transportation livability goal. There was 3 concepts within that: facilitate seamless travel throughout the city, pedestrian bike improvements that provide comfortable, safe, and convenient access throughout the city, and implement technology advancements for all modes of transportation, providing effective networks and corridors. So that's a lot about what this conversation is this evening. In terms of our current service, the transit division within Public Works essentially offers 3 types of transit services. Fixed route, and this is your traditional 40-foot bus that you see on the right there. We have 3 primary fixed routes. One is Peoria Avenue, another is Thunderbird, and the Grand Avenue Express. We have a couple other minor expresses that we also contribute to. And those are all operated by Valley Metro. So that's a contract that we have with Valley Metro, and those are paid for with the Prop 400 funds that are countywide. 83rd Avenue, that extension, as you know, is paid for with city transportation sales tax dollars, but that's a contract with the city of Phoenix actually to operate that bus. The circulator and POGO, we're all very familiar with that. Paratransit and Dial-A-Ride. This could be a 30-minute study session in and of itself. I'll try to give you the 30-second version. They oftentimes get mixed, but they're really distinct services here between paratransit and Dial-A-Ride. So the Dial-A-Ride service is more all-encompassing. It's run by city personnel. It's available to any Peoria resident, and we'll take them anywhere in the city of Peoria, as well as a couple of health facilities right on our borders. And so that's point to point. That's Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. But we also have additional services outside of that stretch, which are related to those who are ADA certified. They have a disability, and Valley Metro provides that service outside of that 6 to 5 Monday through Friday. But you've got to be within 3/4 of a mile of a fixed route, and you've got to be asking for that service at the same time that the fixed route bus is running. So if the fixed route bus is running from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., that's the hours of operation we have. And there's a lot of federal regulations in that as well. But that's a little bit about the fixed service. Like I said, there's a lot of material just in that topic alone that we could spend the night on. But I'm going to keep us moving. And this really is probably the best description of what our industry is experiencing right now. And it's from a consultant in the transit industry by the name of Andrew Glass Hastings. And he says, the biggest challenge for cities in particular is the pace of change. There has been more change in urban transportation in the last 12 months than there has been in the last 12 years. It's not the city's fault, it's just the bureaucracy wasn't set up to be able to respond in a flexible enough and quick enough way to the pace of change we're seeing today. Now, we in the Public Works Transit Division aim to challenge that assertion about not being nimble, but we'll get to that a little bit more as we go on. Okay, so let's talk about the who and the where associated with mobility. We're seeing some real changes here. And these are the demographic disruption that I was mentioning. The good news is we're seeing a lot of new riders coming to transit. Where are they coming from? Well, we have a lot of choice riders. By that, we mean those with cars. And the reason I've got the picture of the tree hugger is that a lot of them are coming for environmental reasons. This is an more environmental, sustainable way to get themselves to different places, so they're choosing the transit even though they may have a car. They may be doing it for entertainment purposes, or they may just have options at the other end. I just need a one-way trip. I've got different options when I get there. We're seeing a lot of more high school riders coming to public transit for a couple of different reasons. Since school choice has blossomed, you get a lot of people that go out of district. And so public transit is becoming a real viable way for them to attend these other areas. I was on Pogo about 3 weeks ago, one of our first rides, and there was a young lady that put their bike on the front of the bus, got up on the bus. So of course I had to ask her, where are you coming from? And because we were at 83rd and Union Hills. And she was coming from Mountain Ridge High School in Glendale. She rode her bike from Mountain Ridge to that spot, got on the bus, rode Pogo around to 91st, and then went to her house. And so this is the idea of high school riders, choice riders going out of district. The whole charter schools, again, they don't provide transit, so much bigger field. And flexibility on times. Your traditional schools have a morning bus, an after-school bus, and sometimes an activity bus. Transit gives them more flexibility. If they have a flexible schedule at school, their after-school activity ended early, they're coming to transit to use. So we're seeing a big jump there. Millennials, this was an interesting one. Fewer are getting driver's license at age 16. In 1983, 93% of 16-year-olds got a driver's license. In 2014, only 77% of 16-year-olds got a driver's license. People are either waiting or getting it later in life on the driver's license. So we're seeing fewer drivers, which makes them more likely to be transit riders. Plus, they're living in more urban, walkable areas, whether it's Roosevelt Road or our soon-to-be Opus P83. Those are other opportunities. Another interesting one are seniors that are aging in place. These are folks that they're losing their driving privileges, but want to stay in their house and want to continue to be mobile. Again, another Pogo story. Before we even opened, we had a guy who was calling us regularly, and he was on the corner on the first day at 6 a.m. He was catching it again from the 91st area, but he wanted to get over to Arrowhead Mall so he could do the Silver Sneaker Walk every morning. And so he has been a regular rider on the Pogo bus every day. So some neat little stories that are tying into exactly these demographics that we're seeing. On the other side, we're seeing more opportunities to not use transit because more things are coming to us at our house. Certainly grocery delivery, we know Fry's, we know Walmart offers this service. There's an online application called Instacart that's partnering up with Bashas' to bring, again, more groceries to your house. Online retail, we're very used to Amazon, Walmart bringing stuff to our house. But dining has really taken off in the last 12 months as far as the Uber Eats, the Grubhub, the DoorDash, whatever, you name it, more stuff comes to us now than we have to go out and get. This is the future of autonomous vehicles bringing groceries to the house, which was piloted by Fry's in Scottsdale just this past year. This is where things are moving. The other big competitor to transit always, though, is car ownership. And again, we're seeing in this economy more people having access to cars, whether it's the cheaper models, more used car market, better financing. We're seeing more car ownership, which is somewhat of a detractor to transit and the use of vehicles. So those are kind of the ups and downs of it. From an employment disruption, this is interesting. So the graph or the chart that you see on the screen, this is where Peoria residents work. So as you can see, downtown Phoenix is still a hotspot, and that used to be how transit was built, was kind of the hub and spoke, is you get them all to the city center and then you take spokes out of it. But we're seeing people work in different places. Obviously the I-17 and Deer Valley corridor, and I spelled deer wrong, but it really is close to my heart, is a hot spot, but we're also seeing things at the Scottsdale Airport or the Tolleson Warehousing District, as well as developing our own employment centers. But this is altering where transit goes. And so that's an important part that we need to be cognizant of as we build a future system. So we've talked a little bit about the who and the where. Now let's talk about the how. So how are people getting a ride? And there really is 4 major disruptions in this space that have been emerging. Now the sharing, that we're a little bit used to. The Uber started as a ride-sharing company. The idea was that I'm already going someplace. Do you want to share this ride? And the app came along to coordinate people, riders with drivers, and collecting money and sharing it. It's turned into more of a ride-hailing company, which is a competitor with taxi cabs, where you're, instead of hailing the ride from the curb, you're hailing it from your phone. But still, it's referred to as kind of that sharing part of the economy. Next is the electric move, whether it's electric scooters, electric bikes, electric vehicles, a lot of movement on that chassis. In 2018, about 2% of car sales were electric. By 2025, it's expected in the US that 30% of car sales will be electric vehicles. In the Netherlands, it's already at 50%. So we know these trends are coming, and we know that companies are investing big money in them. The other disruptive trend is connectivity. I think that's just a fancy word for putting everything on your phone. And that's really the idea here is, and an even more fancy word is mobility as a service. And this is, again, just that idea of bringing everything to your smartphone. And we see it already with Pogo. We're trying to put live information right at your fingertips on your phone so that it's there. And then the last big disruptor, and then one we'll get into in a little bit more detail, is the autonomous vehicles. Collectively, this is the mobility disruption. This is what's really changing what's the future look like. So to get deeper into that, we've brought forward Dr. Devin McCaslin from the ASU Center for Smart Cities and the Regions, and he has a different slide, so we're going to switch over to the PowerPoint and get him going, but will be able to take us deeper into this topic. Great. So he'll come up in just a second.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Devin McCaslin at the Center for Smart Cities and Regions at Arizona State University. At the center, we work to advance urban and regional innovation to make communities more inclusive, vibrant, resilient, and sustainable. And the center is housed in the School for the Future of Innovation in the Society, which is a transdisciplinary unit at the university, at the vanguard of the university's commitments to linking innovation to public value. And so that sort of sets the stage for the way we approach and talk about mobility disruption and new technologies. And so I like to start this conversation with this quote. One day your car may speed along an electric superhighway, its speed and steering automatically controlled by electronic devices embedded in the road. Highways will be made safe by electricity. No traffic jams, no collisions, no driver fatigue. And so a lot of people, when I share this quote, they think it's from the last few years. But the reality is it's from 1956, the same way that the Interstate Highway Act was passed. And so this really highlights the fact that autonomous mobility is, the idea of it is as old as the highway system itself. And so it's only been recently that technology has caught up to what engineers have wanted to achieve all along. So where are we in terms of vehicle automation? So we've got dozens of companies developing different kinds of technology, utilizing a variety of sensors on traditional vehicles, but also designing and building vehicles from the ground up to incorporate this new technology. Google, which launched Waymo One, which is the first commercial ride-sharing service in the US, operating here in the Valley, is a clear leader, but we also have companies like Uber doing ride-sharing and developing the technology as well as autonomy. But automation in vehicles is also more than just the traditional automobile or the ride share. It's also in transit, as well as micromobility, freight, and local and neighborhood deliveries, as Kevin mentioned. And so there are 6 levels of autonomy in terms of vehicles. From level 0, which is nothing, up to level 5, which is a car that can basically drive itself under any conditions with no driver interfaces, no steering wheel, brake pedals, etc. Today, we're somewhere between level 3 and 4. And a lot of people argue that these are actually the 2 most dangerous levels to be operating these vehicles at, because it allows the car to do a lot of the driving itself, But people still need to be aware and pay attention to the roads. But because it's not required at all times, people tend to get distracted and not do this. Estimates right now put the advancement of this technology rolling out full level 5 somewhere within the next probably 5 to 10 years, and very quickly being adopted from then. So this is just, an image of what this could look like down the road, where, a full level 5 car has nowhere for you to interact with the car other than sit in it. And as Kevin mentioned, this autonomous vehicles is really just one trend among these 4, autonomous, connected, electric, and shared. But one of the key things in this is really the uncertainty in how quickly the technology will evolve and mature, as well as how quickly people will adopt it and utilize it for different purposes. So we can see here very different ranges in terms of when and at what rates the technology will become prevalent. And this is sort of the same idea. Within about 20 years, it's estimated that as much as 80% of the miles driven on our roads could be by shared mobility, and a significant portion of this by autonomous shared mobility. But one of the main obstacles to this is really public perception. Numerous surveys over the last few years indicate that roughly 50 to two-thirds of Americans do not view this technology positively. Biggest reasons for this are a lack of trust in the technology itself, concerns over safety on the road, but recent evidence has been showing that the acceptance and the willingness to try this technology has been increasing. So as time goes by, people are becoming more aware of it, hearing about it in the news, even interacting with the vehicles on our streets, and becoming more comfortable with it. But even within this, there are certain groups, certain demographics, same groups that are driving some of the broader changes that Kevin mentioned, that are considered early adopters of this technology. So males, broadly, younger millennials and younger, college graduates, people in urban areas, typically people with higher incomes. And one of the other things that's really driving this shift in transportation towards this autonomous revolution is the ability for these companies to provide transportation as a service at a significantly lower cost than what transportation is today. So if we think about this, a typical new car that anybody can buy costs about $1 per mile to drive. But autonomous and shared mobility particularly has the potential to decrease this by 70 to 75%, so that you can actually, it's a fraction of the cost of what it is today.
Can I ask you a question here?
Yes.
So you're talking about autonomous and shared being about half the cost.
Yeah, so a lot of these, a lot of the ways these will, this rollout is envisioned is through autonomous and shared. A lot of the companies developing this technology anticipate that being its only use for the next 10 to 15 years. And a lot of that's actually due to the cost of the technology. So all those sensors and cameras and everything add tens of thousands of dollars to the vehicles themselves. And most individual people are not willing to pay that additional cost now. And even as the technology improves and the costs to manufacture it decrease, it'll still be a significant increase to the cost of the vehicle. So
you're talking about still calling Uber, and they're going to come and pick you up, but who's going to come and pick you up is
the car.
Is a car. Yes, and not a who.
And it's not just Uber. It's Lyft is doing it.
Sure.
Ford, GM, dozens of these companies are pursuing this. Right now, it's actually about 50-50 in terms of that traditional model of car sharing, where it's a private vehicle versus a small 8 to 10 person shuttle type vehicle. And so there are a lot of companies pursuing that route as well.
So the technology has completely gone towards all of it being within the vehicle and nothing in the roads, nothing in the lights, nothing in the sides.
That is the way things seem to be going. A lot of the company, there's been talk, and cities are very keen on trying to figure out what types of investments to make, for sure, what type of infrastructure to provide. In terms of making the vehicles operate, all the companies that I've interacted with have the approach of making them work on the roads we have today, and not relying on cities to provide any special type of infrastructure, because that essentially disrupts their ability to provide their revenue-generating transportation service. And so that's good for cities. It could also potentially be bad for cities because they have less say in how the cars operate within their space. But yes, that does seem to be the way things are going.
But so in the future, it looks as if we will be cities could be spending less money to create paved roadways, because we might already have the capacity that we need if everything's going to be shared.
Potentially, yes. Yeah, a lot of models suggest that even though with this graph we can see the number of miles driven increasing over time, the number of vehicles, because they're shared, will actually decrease the number of vehicles on the roads. That's sort of the general thinking.
Okay.
But a lot of this, again, only really happens if that combination of autonomous and shared and potentially connected vehicles is realized, which is what the companies are pursuing, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you for those questions. So given that AVs will be in our roads in significant numbers within the next 5 to 20 years, that doesn't really give us a lot of time for planning. So I'm going to talk now about what some different things cities can do now to sort of help be prepared. But before I do that, I just wanted to talk about some of the benefits and risks of this technology. So without planning efforts early on, most agree that cities will experience more negative impacts of AVs rather than some of the potential benefits. And again, this sort of highlights this uncertainty that's inherent with this emerging technology. At a very basic level, AVs can make cars and driving more safe, but in recent years, a lot of cities have seen pedestrian cyclist deaths increasing, and that's something that EVs may not necessarily help with. There's also concern about how EVs will operate in mixed traffic, the self-driving cars with human drivers on the same roadways, and what the safety levels of that will be. There's, as I said, a general consensus that it'll increase the miles driven, but potentially decrease the number of vehicles on our streets, allowing us to, reorient some of that street space to, bicycle lanes or, any number of uses that you can envision. But AVs can also help cities address some accessibility issues, so actually providing transportation to disabled populations and seniors, children, and high school students as well, demographics that typically don't have good mobility options. There are also a lot of concerns over employment, whether, with autonomous driving, there's a huge driving sector that will vanish, and there's debates now whether those jobs can be replaced in other ways, or if it requires a much broader shift in the economy itself. In terms of thinking about land use and space in the city, the AVs, because they're shared, they don't need parking necessarily. So what can you do with that space? But also thinking about things like city revenue and how if you don't have to pay for parking, that's lost revenue potentially. And as you mentioned, what type of infrastructure do cities need to provide? That's a huge question that's still being sorted out. And then there's a very broad question of whether AVs can actually whether they'll actually encourage cities to become more sprawling than they already are, or perhaps help them densify and re-urbanize in certain areas. And so one of these key things is really, thinking about planning early. Now is really the time for cities to think proactively about how this technology can be used to benefit their residents. And a growing number of cities are actually starting to think about this. So around the U.S., that is the U.S., There's a number of cities doing both on-street pilot projects with these vehicles operating, as well as a number of cities developing different sorts of policy initiatives to address different concerns that their cities have. So looking at things like public transportation, equity, employment, traffic safety, infrastructure, various things like that. And this is, from the National League of Cities. They have a 4-point action plan in their 2017 policy prep guide for what cities can do. And these basically, include planning, basically. Especially here, these are on our roads. Probably within the next year or two, Waymo will expand its service valley-wide. And so that's something every city here will have to work with. And so it's really important to start this process now. Building partnerships, talking to these companies, pursuing opportunities to test vehicles, have them provide a service to supplement existing transportation options, but also partnering with other cities and transit agencies and whatnot, just sort of keep track of what's going on at the state and federal level, but also thinking about, infrastructure and especially, the data aspect of this. So, there's a lot of potential for these vehicles to collect huge amounts of data that cities can utilize in various ways to help with any number of planning and public safety concerns. And so thinking about what that sort of information infrastructure looks like is very important. And then lastly, there's a number of resources that are already out there that cities can use. At the federal level, there's a general lack of guidance, but there's this one document, Preparing for the Future of Transportation, by the US DOT, but other agencies and organizations have sort of stepped up to help cities specifically think about what they need to do to plan. So you have the American Planning Association, NACTO, National League of Cities, and then here locally at the Center for Smart Cities and Regions, we've been in particular working with the city of Tempe over the last year and a half or so, helping them think through some of these issues, how they can use autonomous vehicles to supplement their existing transportation, protect their investments in transit, perhaps explore ways of providing new types of transit service. So thinking about how AVs can, create new types of transportations altogether. And this, we really approach this with the mentality that for the foreseeable future, Arizona and Phoenix in particular will be one of the places sort of leading the way in this. And this is kind of a combination of both our policy climate and our actual climate, and the fact that, the companies don't need to perfect this technology to work in wind and snow and rain, to work here in Phoenix. So I really think that for the foreseeable future, the Phoenix area, will be somewhere people look towards for this. So I think it's important to think proactively and plan accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation.
And then I've got another piece, though, just to close it off. I apologize, we'll keep going, but there's
No,
a
please
little
do.
bit more.
Please
Because we
do.
wanted to then connect that knowledge back to how might that show itself in Peoria as we go forward. So I'll go through these next elements quickly. So that is just the question. How might mobility disruptions show itself in Peoria? And so going through those 4 disrupting factors, from the ride-share, ride-hail element, we can see the potential for zoning changes. Just as Dr. McCausland noted, the city of Chandler adopted last year some zoning changes where particularly they're offering reduction in parking requirements in exchange for drop-off pickup zones. So they literally, for each loading zone that you offer, they're offering a 10% reduction in your parking up to 40%. So those sorts of things are on the horizon. Another one that is a new startup, it's a company called Spare Labs. And this is a platform, again, in the ride-sharing space that is working at coordinating rides from your neighborhood to the bus stop. So it's kind of a more micro element of rideshare that allows you to do those organizations within yourself just on this platform that's kind of open-ended. Staying with the connectivity and the MOS, 80% of transit agencies are converting their fare technology. They're going from the over-the-counter ticket or the kiosk that you buy the ticket at the bus stop to being able to buy it on your phone and show it to the driver. We're no different here. Valley Metro and Phoenix are pursuing this. It's a 3-year project that got passed last year and is being implemented over that time. But even at a Peoria-specific level, there's even technology out there where you can do that kind of technology for dial ride. And why would that be of interest? Well, you've got a lot of seniors whose children live out of state or even out of the city. That ability to buy transit tickets, put them on their parent's phone and never have to leave the house could be very appealing. So now they have their ride ready to go and just walk on the bus and show them their phone. So those are some opportunities of how connectivity may hit us. Electric vehicles, thinking about us from a fleet at the city. Certainly pickups is where most of our fleet is. It's not so much in the light duty sedans. The leader in this area is Rivian, although Ford just invested $500 million in them about 2 months ago. They are expecting to bring an electric pickup to market in 2021. It has a 400-mile range. That's really a game changer in terms of that distance. Tesla is also promising a vehicle. They think they can do it in 2019, but all the industry experts say you're 2021. They are not where they think they are in terms of delivery. So to give you an idea, we have about 210 pickups in our fleet, but the real thing to look at is an electric pickup is coming in at $70,000 versus we're paying $30,000. At 210 vehicles, that's about an $8.5 million hit. So we really got to think about the return on investment and how we grow into this space as we go forward. Getting a little heavier duty, there are electric buses and they're on the road. There's a picture of a 40-foot bus right there. The New York Metropolitan Transit Authority has already committed to an all-electric fleet by 2040. They're piloting 10 now and they've got 60 more in their CIP. You see other major cities are making these purchases, but this is not a cheap purchase. Now, the company that seems to be leading this industry is a company called Proterra out of California, and that's their bus on the bottom there, but it's $1 million a bus versus $400,000 is about what you'd pay for a 40-foot bus. And their distance isn't particularly impressive. That 150 to 275 is just getting you through a day's work of routes, barely. But the 3-hour charge is pretty impressive. So there's pros and cons in this as we move forward. CNG is also another big item out there. We're seeing that more and more in the solid waste industry, but there's some real hesitance in how well it's going to work in our heat. But we know Republic and Waste Management are really pushing forward, so we'll let the private sector champion those a little bit before we jump in. But all of those really have a fear of revenue disruption. Remember, we pay for the maintenance of our streets with a gas tax. If they're buying electric vehicles, they're not buying gas and they're not paying for that street maintenance, but they're still using the streets. So that's a real disruptor that we need to be thinking about as we go forward. Now, the autonomous vehicles, where we think that best use is in Peoria, is a transit use probably in our first mile, last mile area. A survey by TransDev last year said 53% of transit systems are interested in testing autonomous vehicle in that first mile, last mile space. We think P83 is probably our best candidate for starting that conversation. The other area where it might make sense is special events. Certainly Old Town is a perfect criteria where they're parking over here at this municipal center and then going to the event at Azuna. Autonomous shuttles that can take them back and forth seem like a good use of that space. We think that this is a good industry or a good opportunity for partnering with private sector, whether they have use of the vehicle themselves or advertising inside and outside the vehicle. We think there's opportunities to offset those costs. So outside of just those 4 big disruptors, I just want to bring 2 other items that are also going on into the conversation. One is the idea of commuter rail. That is definitely a mobility disruptor that's out there. 2018 study by MAG is showing 2 possible routes in the Valley area. One is the Grand Avenue alignment, and that's blue lines running from Wickenburg down into the city center and then on to, I think it's Wild Horse Pass on the other end. And then there's an east-west corridor kind of along the I-10 and out into Queen Creek. Just focusing on the blue line there, by 2040, the anticipation would be that you'd have about 10,800 riders on commuter rail. 660 of those would be coming from Peoria, and they would share the existing freight, and it's not cheap. This is a $1 billion project, and that's without the rail portion included. And it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about $15 to $20 million a year to operate. So let me just give a little bit more context on that before I leave.
Did you say $1 billion?
$1 billion to build it.
Capital
and
And
15
then
to 20.
15 to 20 million to maintain it. And out of Peoria, we would have 660 riders? Just checking. Okay, just want to verify that.
That's right.
So here's the context.
Yeah. So to give a little context, which doesn't make it all right, but to give you a little idea, so 10,800 riders. Right now, light rail carries about 45 to 47,000, but that's the whole light rail system. So that gives you an idea of just kind of how these compare. Comparing it to bus, Thomas Road is the most busy bus route in the valley. They carry about 7,500 to 8,000 riders. So that's kind of more in line with what we're seeing with commuter rail. But then you look at the 660 Peoria riders, you think, well, that's pretty low. Right now, though, we're seeing about 16 per day that are getting on the Grand Avenue Express or the Grand Avenue Limited. So it looks like a big jump, but again, when you're talking $1 billion for 660 a day, got to keep that in perspective. But we're keeping everything on the table at this point. Now, operations per mile, that those millions of dollars that we talked about, it translates into about $21 to $39 per mile. To give that context, our 83rd Avenue bus route costs about $7.57. So again, pretty expensive stuff, but higher ridership, so things to be thinking about.
Mayor and Council, if I may, just as we look at that, this is a perfect example of where we're going to be coming back to you with some important policy discussions. Something like a commuter rail process would be discussed heavily in the concept of a new extension to our Proposition 400. So the county sales tax on transportation would likely pay for something like this. It's really going to be a thoughtful discussion that we'll have with our neighbors, including Surprise, El Mirage, and Glendale, about the concept of commuter rail, how we benefit, what is the cost, what are the trade-offs. This kind of information is so helpful for us as we really get a sense of the relative cost per unit for a Peoria resident. So,
And Mr. Manager, since you have the floor, maybe talk a little bit about our e-scooters at the moment.
Right, well, another example of where we have lived one of these disruptions that we're talking about. E-scooters presented itself to us about a half a year ago when a vendor did reach out to us to explore, and we came up with the concept of a pilot program that would be in a targeted area of this city. Ultimately, we couldn't come to terms with that vendor in a way that guaranteed that we could minimize the risk and burden to Peoria residents. That effort, it was an effort that we would like to do. In fact, these pilot programs are now being explored by a number of other cities, so there was good work for us to get some advanced work, and other cities have appreciated some of that we've looked into that. You may recall that we had a temporary ordinance that was put in place to help accommodate if we were to come to an agreement. That ordinance is finishing itself out. So what we would like to do is come back to you in the fall with an ordinance that's going to ensure that we're going to be protecting any riders of e-scooters, pedestrians, and also make sure that we're not allowing the deterioration of the aesthetics of our neighborhoods. So we'll be talking with you about a potential ordinance that would more permanently address this disruption that came to us.
So to finish this off, again, we don't have any specific recommendations, but more concepts to keep in mind. So you saw this slide earlier. This is, Deloitte put this together. And if I could just take a moment to explain it, because it ties back to our original uncertainty element and where it's going. And what it looks at here is really kind of 4 possible outcomes. Now, that may be an evolution, but they may be 4 distinct outcomes. So on your x-axis, you got vehicle ownership. On the y-axis is vehicle control. So square one is talking about, hey, I still own the vehicle, but I'm adding autonomous features. So I'm getting that driver assist, those braking elements, and they're incrementally being added to my car, but I continue to own it and I continue to drive it. In box 2, it's the idea of, well, maybe I don't need 2 cars. I'll keep one that I drive, but then I'll ride share my other opportunities and downsize kind of what's in my garage. In box 3, this is the autonomous revolution where, okay, I'm buying an autonomous car that I am going to own and have operate exclusively for my family, but I'm still keeping that ownership. Although, as Dr. McCaslin said, that technology is so expensive, this box seems really hard to achieve. So then you're into the 4th box, which is, I neither own the vehicle, nor do I drive it. It's an autonomous vehicle that I ride share to take care of my transit needs. And so any of these 4 scenarios are kind of rivaling right now. We're not sure which one is going to be the end product. So Peoria should approach transit as a series of pilot projects while the industry sorts out winners, losers, and trends. So to that extent, what we talk about in near term, and by that I'm talking like 0 to 6 months, this is the real near term. We know we have a master transit plan that's coming up, so really endeavoring with that one and making sure we're being more broad and comprehensive in that. Certainly Proposition 400 extension, we need to be thinking about these transit elements as we're positioning and figuring out what's the right language, what's the right asks in that proposition. And then as you heard the manager talk about, we will have some scooter regulations coming out this fall in the next 0 to 6 months to talk about that. In the midterm, and by that I'm looking at 1 to 2 years, POGO variations. We already know that POGO seems to have woken the transit bug in Peoria, and we're getting lots of calls for extensions, for additional hours, for additional locations. We're gonna have to sit down and look at our data and figure out what's the right next step. The electric fleet, where do we get, how do we get into that? Dial a ride, more opportunities to access through the phone, or even ride hailing. That might be a combination that can keep our expenses down and service those people after hours. Long term, we got to think about how to maintain this, and so I'm just talking in the 3 to 5 years. All these changes have a disruption on how we maintain it, and we've got to be thinking ahead as we talk about a new fleet shop and what's the right tools, space, technology in that. Zoning regulations, you heard a little bit about that, and then legislation to fix gas tax. I mean, we got to be thinking about this revenue source changing for us and how we're going to. So there's many more things that are possible. Again, some big policy options, discussions in the future. Again, this was intended to be an exploratory topic that gave you ideas on questions and reactions. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Well, I think there is nothing left except questions. Council, do you have any comments? Yes, Councilmember Hunt.
Kevin, could you talk for a minute about how all of this is affecting the new transit stop that we're putting in across Grand Avenue there?
Yeah, so that's a good point of kind of where we are in the current environment, which is that we're trying to bring these points of intersection together. So by moving the parking closer to Grand Avenue, we're bringing together 3 different fixed route lines into that one element and putting it closer to the Grand Avenue Limited so that you have a direct connection going to that transit center in the city center. But it also, though, is giving us that connection east-west and then north-south. So you have the Peoria ride going east-west, but then as we develop, again, employment centers such as the P83, you've got the 83rd extension that makes that connection to the north, then on to the Arrowhead Transit Center that gives us even more connections. So creating those pods where you're seeing that congruence of activities come together is really what we need in the current environment. But certainly that's going to evolve over time.
So right now, basically what you're saying is it's a parking lot with covered parking?
It is. That is the design
Are you
intent.
putting
It has bike parking. It'll also have electric charging stations. So it has some of those elements that fits other alternative mobility that comes into that center. But the idea is to connect them and getting onto the transit system.
Okay. And then it'll have space, I assume, for putting in some of these other things as later innovations become available and we decide that they're profitable for the city.
It sure may. I mean, there may be a point where you're taking the ride share to the transit center, you know, that gets you from your house to the transit center, and then you're getting on the Grand Avenue Limited and taking it to your place of employment. So those things could definitely become an evolution to that park and ride.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Brave new world.
So
Yes.
it sounds like flexibility and adaptability is going to be really what cities need to be prepared to do in every case.
Absolutely. We've got to be nimble.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. So when we talk about, I can't remember the terms you used, but there's basically the immediate and the next 0 to 6 months and then a year, where we have to start getting together and looking at this and evaluating all of this to determine what policy decisions we may need to make. My concern is, and maybe that we don't answer this today, but my concern is making sure that we have accurate information.
Sure.
To actually base those decisions on. And I experienced that on MAG TPC, and you're relying on experts, subject matter experts, to give us all the information that we need to make the best possible decisions. And these are decisions that could cost time and money and resources, and we just want to be really careful. I don't know the answer, and maybe you don't have it today, but just something that I think about right away and looking at. As far as moving this direction, I'm ready to surrender my keys right now. I don't like to drive, and would like to see half of the drivers on the road not drive right now. So I'm happy about going this direction.
And Vice Mayor, you're absolutely on point. I mean, and there's such uncertainty here. And that's why I'm kind of recommending or advocating for a series of pilots, because betting on any one horse at this point is probably too early, since they've never run the race yet, and that's, I think, the piece where we're saying we need to take this in small bite size, see what's happening, see where it's going. I mean, some of these trends that we're seeing, I mean, luckily, we're seeing a lot of that piloting, experimenting going on in this region. But there's still a lot of data that's coming in, and it's changing all the time. And so what might be accurate data today could be completely different data in 6 months, and we just built a whole program around a point in time that no longer exists. I don't know, Dr. McCaslin, and I know Deputy Manager Strunk, yeah.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, I was going to mention as well, Kevin's absolutely right. One of the items up there in the near term is the master transit plan, and local jurisdictions have nuances when it comes to transportation and transit. So you're going to see a combination of some input from your staff professionals, the community, yourselves, and that data you were talking about. We will structure that part of the plan to get the data and make sure it's scrubbed and accurate as it can be. But you're right, as Kevin said, there's a little bit of an unknown with respect to the Wild West that transit is morphed into. It's not a bad thing, it's just how do you sift through that? And to that city manager's point, there's going to be a real need coming down the road to touch base with you to make sure we are on the right path and we make the right decisions. It's not easy. There's a lot going on. You're absolutely right.
Study session.
Well, I would just add too that, ASU is being a major part of this region, very invested in seeing where this goes, and our center is going to be continuing our work with other communities around the valley and watching trends. So I encourage you to, keep the conversations going with us so that we can give you what we have too in terms of information.
Before our presentation, Dr. McCaslin was saying this industry has a lot of interest, but not a lot of research. And so that is the importance of academia and places like ASU that's putting some real research numbers to these, and they're not just speculative investors that are telling you the numbers of what's coming.
We thoroughly appreciate that, and we appreciate the innovation and taking the lead that ASU has done so far. As cities, we are used to planning 20 years ahead, 30 years ahead, 40 years ahead, and so to not be able to plan at this time is very frustrating, and it's I mean, we're not using our own money here. This is taxpayer dollars, and we have to be judicious with it. And that's our responsibility to envision what's going to happen and say how much money we need and how it's going to be spent. So we don't really have the ability to sit back and wait for innovation to occur. We are going to have to make some commitments. That is going to have to happen in the next 20-year state transportation tax. Very quickly, like right around the corner. So we are going to have to find some way to incorporate flexibility and adaptability into our long-term plans. And so really, instead of deciding definitively what is going to be, we're going to have to decide definitively what adaptability means and what flexibility means and how we can fund that and still leave room for future decisions. So, having said all of that, one thing I did want to clarify is you were talking about the first mile and last mile for just the shuttle. What is the possibility of trying out something like that right away?
For the autonomous vehicle?
Right.
And actually, I think it's very real. Had some very good conversations with a company out of California. Looked like we were on the path to doing a demonstration, and then one day I get that we're going to do a different opportunity. But there's another company right behind them, and so we're having that conversation, and we've been trading emails and phone calls about different scenarios, and so I think this is a very real possibility in the next 6 months to be bringing something to you to explore, to pilot.
And Mayor, Council, one of the things that Kevin's done is we did apply for a federal grant.
Yes, that's true.
Fully knowing this may occur, we thought this one particular company was going to be it. Even though it's not, it doesn't negate the grant. So as to Kevin's point, we are pursuing other options, and hopefully we can bring some good news, some intriguing news back to you at the right time on that.
So having said that, we might want to get started on what kind of permitting and regulations we would need to come up with to be ready for that. Did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I guess now that you've called me out, I have to turn my microphone.
You looked intent.
I like your comment about the first mile, last mile, kind of exploring as that is kind of an option to kind of get things going. I thought that was a fantastic idea. I totally would support that. I think it's a great plan.
Yeah, so we need to work on regulations that would have us ready to explore something like that. All right, well, thank you for all of that information. Oh, yes, Ms. Dunn.
So I had a question. You were talking about the electric vehicles or fleets. A couple questions. Did we look into some of the other costs that could be associated with, like our MOC, our Municipal Operations Center, the space for fast charging stations, slow charging stations? Because there is a difference in the 3-hour charge versus the all-night where you charge the vehicles. And would we have the space and the ability to accommodate that, or would we have to expand our MOC as well and with those stations?
Thank you for the question, Mayor, Councilmember Dunn. To your last question first, the space is getting pretty tight at the MOC, and we know that as we're growing and we're looking at options for trying to move some of the things off of that property, whether it's the storage components and get more just to the operational. We also know in the CIP, we're looking ahead in the next 3 years at a new fleet facility because we've outgrown the one that we have, as well as just the functionality of it. The electric element, yes, that's a part of rebuilding this in the new direction, understanding how many, how often, how frequent, how that works. Those are all part of those things that we need to be looking at as we look at adoption. And that's why it's so important to understand what is the adoption strategy. Is it, more piecemeal? Is it wholesale? Just even replacement costs. Our budgets are built to replace a $30,000 pickup. They're not built to replace a $30,000 pickup with a $70,000 pickup. So that's a budget impact. That is a policy issue. We've got to come back here and say, okay, do we purposely want to go this direction, and at what cost and at what scale? So those are, you're asking the right questions. We're aware of some of it, but we don't have the full answers for you at this time.
I have one more question. The other thing is there ability to IGA with other cities that have these stations in place? Because I do know that especially the fast charging stations are very expensive. Well, they're all expensive.
Right.
But I do know some of the other cities have those facilities in place. Can we do some partnerships until we have the space and the money? Is that a consideration?
Absolutely. We're always sharing ideas and who's at what stage and what they're doing and what they're trying. We know that some different municipalities are trying the rideshare as their pool vehicles, and the electric piece is just the next part of that, of introducing a couple electric vehicles. Again, understanding what's the maintenance cost, what's the repair, where's the expertise, things of that nature, the charging. So absolutely, the municipalities are very open to cooperating and sharing because we're all in this gray zone and trying to find the best way forward.
So Mayor and Councilmember Dunn, one thing that just kind of popped into my head is so transportation, transit, there's a lot of regional work that goes into it. When you talk about partnering with other cities, certainly there's a framework in place to lends itself to that broader conversation, but locally within Peoria, two immediate things that come to my mind. You've got other governmental jurisdictions that operate here. For example, the school district, just take that. They are probably in their own way are going to be impacted by alternate transportation, electric, and so who knows? Maybe that's one of those elements that we have a conversation about. We have various county components in the Peoria area, and they will probably be doing the same thing. So we have to be aware of that and look at those opportunities. I think the other little comment is the nature of the industry changes. So as Kevin pointed out, you go from gasoline to electricity. Well, the private sector is going to take note of that, and if there are more vehicles that need to be charged and battery storage gets better and transfer times from electricity from an old gas pump to the battery speeds up, I mean, these are all things that could happen. So there may be some private sector components of it as well, but the regional piece is a strong one. You've got some internal pieces here that lend itself to the conversation, then you have the private side that may pop into it.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I have one more question. Since the largest portion of our tax dollars come from our car dealerships, what do you see as the impact on, if fewer people are buying cars? I realize the prices of what they buy will be more expensive, but do you see this impacting, well, frankly, the taxes that we collect?
It could. It could. I mean, to regurgitate something that I got from ASU, was that there is a possible scenario where you're really not buying your cars from Ford and GM anymore. You're buying your cars from the Waymos of the world, the people who are putting on that technology at the end. The car is just simply a part to a product that vendor is now selling to you. And so there could be a time where you're right, you're buying your vehicle from a autonomous vehicle company, and the car is just one part of that. But I will tell you that the manufacturers do not want to be left behind, and they are spending big dollars to make sure that they are a partner. I have a slide that shows 263 different companies who are all investing in the autonomous vehicle field, and they're all trying to make sure they've got some part. It's kind of like the .com era where we don't know who's going to win, but we're going to bet on everybody and make sure that we're a part of whatever the winning solution is.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate all of the information and look forward to much more.
Great, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, I appreciate the questions that you brought up regarding planning and partnerships, use of data, and the policies that are in place, all the very things Dr. McCaslin said that we should be looking at. So you do have a staff that's eager to work and continue partnering with ASU as well as working with MAG as well to make sure we have the best info as we go ahead. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. And we are adjourned until our 7 p.m. meeting.
The Mayor and City Council welcome you to the Peoria City Council meeting. As a courtesy to others, please silence all phones. If you would like to address an issue that is on the agenda, or if you would like to speak to the council regarding a non-agenda item, please complete a speaker request form, which can be found in the front lobby of the Peoria City Council chambers or in the tray to the left of the speaker's podium. Please place the completed speaker request form in the second tray to the left of the speaker's podium labeled Request to Speak. All speakers will have 3 minutes to complete their comments. A countdown clock is easily visible on the left side of the wall behind the City Council dais. Only items listed on the agenda may be addressed by the Council. Since items presented as part of a speaker's request have not been listed on the agenda, and due to the requirements of open meeting laws, the Council will be unable to respond to items presented as part of the speaker's request. However, please be aware that your comments will be noted. The speaker's name will be called to speak at the appropriate time, in the order that the forms were received. Thank you for your interest and participation in the Peoria City Council meeting.
Council meeting will now come to order. Please rise for a moment of quiet reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Patena.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mayor Bartlett?
Here.
Vice Mayor Binsbacher?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hunt? Here. Councilmember Patena?
Here.
Councilmember Finn?
Here.
Councilmember Edwards?
Here.
And Councilmember Dunn.
Here.
Good evening and welcome to the Peoria City Council meeting of June 4th, 2019. The first item on the agenda is a presentation, recognition of Peoria's diverse water portfolio. And I will begin by turning it over to City Manager Jeff Tyne for a short presentation.
Great. Thank you, Mayor and Council. And we have with us Kate Powers, our Water Services Director, will recognize the efforts and the forethought of previous and current council members and mayors in building a sustainable and diverse water portfolio for the city. And longtime city residents and former mayors John Keegan and Bob Barrett have been invited to receive recognition, and thank you. And with that, I'll pass it over to Mr. Powers.
Good evening, Council. There we go. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Tyne. Mayor and Council, this evening's presentation will illuminate the tremendous amount of effort that's been expended over the years to ensure that Peoria has an assured water supply for existing and future residences. As many of you know, the Groundwater Act that was passed in the 1980s transformed how Peorians view water and the use of it. Up until that time, up until the 90s actually, many of the cities in our valley, especially in the West Valley, relied entirely upon groundwater to service potable water to their residents. In 1985, the Arizona Assured Water Supply Rules went into effect, or 1995. And that's the point in time when the Groundwater Act really came home to roost in cities. And it was the time, it was a call to act at that point in time. And that's when Peoria started to begin strategic diversification efforts to remove ourselves from groundwater and put ourselves onto renewable water supplies that we could rely on into the foreseeable future. At that time, everybody could see the groundwater levels dropping and knew that it was a time to act. The amount of effort it took and the decisions that had to be made, the amount of leadership at that time demonstrated was pretty incredible. If you think about all of the projects that had to happen to make that occur over the time. There's a list of a few of them here. The construction of the Beardsley and Butler wastewater treatment plants had to be done in a manner that would allow us to recover water and recharge it into the ground so that we could get long-term storage credits and form a water bank. We had construction of the Greenway water treatment plant so that we could use Salt River project water. A lot of our city used Salt River project water at the time, but it was only for irrigation and other non-potable uses. We also collaborated with our neighbors and many other entities, such as Glendale, to expand the water treatment plant capacity at the Glendale Pyramid Peak Water Treatment Plant. When we're done with the current project underway, we'll own about 47% of that facility. We also acquired new water resources. So we acquired water from the Gila River Indian Community, the Central Arizona Project, White Mountain Apache Tribe, and the New River Utility Company. We also made huge funding and other commitments to ongoing operational expenses, maintenance, repair, and water conservation efforts. If you think about it, we went from 1998 to being 100% reliable upon surface water, upon groundwater, to a point where in 2019, our assured water supply only has us relying about 5% on groundwater. Of that 5%, we use none of it. We'll give you a few examples of various sites that are designed to use and/or store our different, diverse sources of water. Central Arizona Project water is primarily used to service the north part of town. It makes up about 37% of our water portfolio and will be used to irrigate our newest park, Paloma Community Park. Salt River Project water is used primarily in the southern portion of town. It makes up about 36% of our total designation. Here's pictures of a Rio Vista Community Park where SRP water is utilized. Mayor and Council, reclaimed water comprises about 11% of our water portfolio. The water in the lake system at the Pioneer Community Park is examples of how we use quality treated reclaimed water from our Butler Wastewater Treatment Plant facility. We use it in the urban fishing lake and irrigation for landscape. Of note, we've actually earmarked approximately $8 million in upcoming budgets to study and develop an action plan to best use our reclaimed water, quite possibly through the extension of our Purple Pipe system. Let's see. The Sunrise Mountain Library uses water from the Gila River Indian Community. It also comes down the CAP Canal and makes up another 10% of our water source. The picture of the Sunrise Mountain Library and its landscaping are examples of where we use this source of water. Although groundwater pumping is only allowed to make up about 5% of our total designated water supply, the Peoria Sports Complex is an example of how we could use this water to keep fields irrigated to Major League Baseball standards. In practice, we currently offset any groundwater pumped with reclaimed water that we put back into the ground. And finally, we have a photo of one of the water reclamation facilities we utilize, which allows treated water to percolate into the ground, which results in long-term storage credits being accumulated. It's a bank of water that we can pump out of the ground and use at a later date. We currently have about a 5.5-year supply of long-term storage credits should we ever need to draw on this source. Again, although these are just quick photos, they do show the great care and consideration taken over time by this city council and past city council members who've provided Peoria with a very robust and resilient water supply system. This concludes my presentation, and now I'll turn it over to Mayor Carlett.
Thank you very much. And today we are joined by a very special guest, my friend and former Peoria Mayor, Bob Barrett. And I would like to ask him to join me on the council floor. Turn around while I say a few words, if you don't mind. This is pretty fun, actually.
I used to put so many people through this.
I know you did. So really, we are very honored to have you here today because this year in our budget sessions, we allotted funds to study and expand, and then our CIP budget as well, to expand and then put into place the city's water distribution system. So we are moving forward in a lot bigger ways, and we're very proud to do so. And in doing so, we are fulfilling our obligation to our current and future residents of the city of Peoria to ensure that we will always have the most control, the most protections, and the most beneficial use of all of our water resources, including planning for our reclaimed water to be wisely distributed throughout our city. And that is no small feat. The plans set forth in our budget are momentous and far-reaching. They will affect the future of our city in every possible way, including impacts to Peoria's finances, stability, growth, and sustainability. However, none of this would have been possible without the actions of the elected officials and administrations that have come before us. In Peoria, we have been blessed with continuity of strong water leadership, which resulted in impactful decisions, diversification, and foresight. Beginning in 1997, Mayor Keegan and Mayor Barrett served Peoria for the 18 years prior to the time that I was elected mayor in 2015. I was honored to know them both and share the council dais with each of them. Terry Ellis and Carl Swenson were the professional city managers during those years. Because of the prudent and wise investment decisions by the leaders that preceded us, this elected body and this administration, led by City Manager Jeff Tyne, have the ability to further protect our resources and transform our infrastructure to take us into the future. Mayor Keegan could not be with us this evening, but I want to recognize his leadership related to the Butler Water Reclamation Facility. This large-scale infrastructure project created the opportunity for us to reuse our water, producing an affordable source of new water. Mayor Barrett, I want to thank you for your efforts to assure the diversification of our water portfolio. Your expertise in water benefited Peoria residents from the start of your elected career in 2001 through your service as mayor in 2015. With your leadership, we expanded our sources and increased our ability to store and recharge our supplies while protecting our aquifers and planning for the future. As we look to strengthen our secure water future for the residents of Peoria, we stand on the shoulders of the leaders who came before us, creating the strong foundation upon which we build. And now, Bob Barrett, on behalf of the City of Peoria, it is my honor to present you with this award as a token of our gratitude. Wow. Made specially for you. It looks like water.
I'll keep it short. I just like to say that thank you for your recognition, Mayor, Council. Water is the most critical thing in the state of Arizona. If you don't have water, you can't grow. And thankfully, this council and the staff was quick to understand that and began moving forward. And she is going to continue to move this forward. You have to do it. Cities don't stay stagnant. They move forward or they fall back. And you have to have the water to move forward. And I'm really glad that we understand that and we are taking steps to continue that. Thank you again.
We so appreciate everything that you've done for the City of Peoria. Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine or have been previously reviewed by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion unless a council member requests an item to be removed and considered in the normal sequence of the agenda. Additionally, tonight's consent agenda includes items that require a public hearing. So if there's any member of the public present who would like to address something that is on the public hearing on the consent agenda, please complete a speaker request form and place it in the bin next to the speaker's podium. And I have received no request to speak. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak? All right, seeing none. Council, are there any items to be removed from consent? Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and many seconds. Council, please vote. And the consent agenda passes unanimously. We will now move on to the regular agenda and new business with item 25R, Code Amendment, Chapter 14, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, enacting a new section prohibiting the use of portable communication device while driving.
Great, thank you, Mayor. And Vanessa Hickman, of course, our city attorney, will present a new recommended ordinance prohibiting the use of portable wireless communication devices while driving.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to present on the proposed code amendment. It would be an ordinance amending Chapter 14, enacting Section 1455, which would prohibit the use of a portable communication device while driving. The purpose of the new ordinance is to promote and protect public health and safety by enacting an ordinance consistent with state law that prohibits the use of a portable wireless communication device while driving. We have had multiple study sessions on this topic, and there have been statewide discussions about the impact of using portable communication devices while driving. Drivers who use these devices while driving to send text messages are statistically more likely to become involved in a traffic accident. There are injuries, deaths, property damage, and other issues that arise. The new ordinance would classify violation as a primary offense, giving officers the opportunity to pull someone over for violation of the ordinance. So again, by way of background, we had a study session on this topic in the fall of 2018, where we looked at an ordinance which would possibly prohibit texting while driving. We then had another study session in the spring of 2019, where we discussed the fact that the legislature was taking up this issue this year and was most likely looking to pass a statewide law that would go into effect in 2019. So that did in fact happen. The legislature passed House Bill 2318. It was transmitted to the governor. The governor signed a state law prohibiting drivers from using a portable wireless communication device or standalone electronic device while driving. That was signed into law on April 22nd, 2019. And it actually became effective immediately. So there is no delayed effective date. It is in place right now. This bill that was enacted and signed into law authorizes cities to adopt an ordinance mirroring state law, which is what we're proposing to do. So the proposed ordinance, and again, when I'm talking about the ordinance, I'm also talking about what state law is currently, prohibits the following while stopped or parked. The use of a portable wireless communication device or standalone electronic device while operating a motor vehicle by physically holding or supporting the device with any part of a person's body. There is an exception that the person may use an earpiece, headphone device, or a device worn on their wrist to conduct a voice-based communication. It also prohibits writing, sending, or reading any text-based communication, including text, instant message, email, or internet data while operating a motor vehicle. And it prohibits watching or recording a video or movie using the same devices. So it does not apply to the use of voice-based communication through virtual assistants to direct the text-based communications, so Siri or Google Assist, there are many others out there. It does not apply to the use of a hands-free feature, including a device that is accessible through an interface that's embedded in a motor vehicle that allows the communication without the use of either the driver's hands, except to activate or deactivate a function on the device. So this includes the use for navigation and GPS, so you are able to use navigation and GPS in hands-free mode. It does not apply to reporting emergencies, safety hazards, or criminal activity. And there are also some other exceptions. It does not apply to operators of authorized emergency, law enforcement, or probation vehicles. And there are a few narrow exceptions for Federal Communication Commission licensed operators and using a two-way radio to perform work-related duties while operating a fleet vehicle with a commercial driver's license. So again, some narrow exceptions there. The enforcement and fines, which again are consistent with state law, it is a primary offense. The officer can perform a traffic stop if the behavior is observed. There is a warning period, and this is consistent with what's mandated with the law that was passed. The warning period began in April, and so our warning period under our ordinance will begin on the effective date and lasts until December 31st, 2020. The citations will begin issuing on January 1st, 2021. So there is a lengthy warning period to get everybody familiar with the ordinance and the state law, get everyone up to speed, a long period of education before citations can issue. Civil penalties with fines ranging between $75 to $149 plus surcharges, and then $150 to $250 for second or subsequent offenses. For serious injury or death, that is a Class 1 misdemeanor with a presumptive 6-month jail sentence and a $2,500 fine. So the recommendation this evening is to approve the ordinance amending Chapter 14 of the Peoria City Code pertaining to prohibiting the use of a portable wireless communication device while driving. And that concludes my presentation this evening. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Councilmember Hunt?
I just have a quick one. Who gets the fine, the money from the fine? What entity receives that? For example, maybe a highway patrol officer stops someone on 101, but they're in Peoria city limits, and they stop them. Who gets that money?
Well, Mayor, Councilmember Hunt, I'm looking to Jeff to see if he has any thoughts on that subject.
Yeah, it's a great question, Councilmember. My guess is that this would be consistent with other fines that are imposed at the state level like that. There likely is kind of a separation of that fine revenue that would go to the municipality as well as to the state, but we are happy to get that information for you.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So while this is not going to go into effect for another year, we will most likely begin formulating our educational program as quickly as possible. Maybe have a study session on that coming up.
Great. Yes, Mayor, what we will undertake from this point is, should this be adopted, it's a great chance to then bring forward what will be the communication plan that we plan for making sure our residents are fully aware of the implications of this, providing some of the statistics of why this is so important, and then making sure that they know exactly how we would be going about enforcing this.
Signage, whole program.
Right. Yes, and we can have a great discussion with regard to signage and notification within our community and how we'd like that. And so we'll tee that up for you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Seeing no further questions, then do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Vicki, vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next item on the agenda is 26R, Arizona Water Banking Authority Agreement, Exchange Long-Term Storage Credits. Mr. Tyne.
Thank you. And again, we have Kate Powers, our Water Services Director, to discuss a possible agreement with the Arizona Water Banking Authority to exchange long-term storage credits with Pinal County.
Thank you, Mr. Tyne, Mayor and Council. As you know, the Colorado River has been under a drought for at least the last 20 years or so. We came to Council earlier this year and gave a brief on the Colorado conditions, possible impacts to Peoria, among several other topics. At that time, the state was negotiating with other states and internal to ourselves a drought contingency plan. That plan was eventually finalized and actually signed earlier this year. If conditions on the Colorado River continue to deteriorate, there will eventually be a reduction in the amount of water that flows down the CAP Canal to central Arizona. When there's a reduction, if there's a reduction, the first people that will be impacted by it would be farmers in Pinal County because they have the most junior water rights in the valley. The drought contingency plan calls for mitigation for those farmers in Pinal County. It was needed. We had to do something to get them to sign on to the plan, and so mitigation was the thing to do. In the early years of the drought contingency plan, it calls for wet water to be delivered to them by various parties. So here's the way the proposal would work. Water that Peoria owns and that flows down the CAP Canal, we on a yearly basis take that water, pull it off of the canal, and recharge it into the ground at the Agua Fria Recharge Facility. We do that every year. We do, between 11 and 15,000 acre-feet of water a year. If the Pinal County farmers require mitigation, what would happen is we would leave some of the water in the canal. It would flow down the canal all the way to Pinal County, where an irrigation company would pull the water off the canal, give it to a farmer would use it to irrigate their crops, and then it would trickle into the ground. That activity in Pinal County would generate long-term storage credits, but they'd be in a Pinal County. So by participating in this program, we would have the right to go pump a bunch of water in Pinal County, which is pretty much useless to us. So the Arizona Water Banking Authority came up with a plan as part of the drought contingency planning to exchange those credits. So essentially, they would take the Pinal County credits, get them, and then give them to us. This isn't an unlimited resource for the farmers. Peoria is proposed to provide a maximum of about 5,000 acre-feet a year, and only in the years 2020, 2021, and 2022. We aren't the only ones doing this. You can see the list of the other cities and private entities up there on your screen that would also participate. It's important to understand that there are no significant costs to Peoria for doing this, financial costs. There are some minor costs included, but even the Arizona Water Banking Authority has agreed to waive many of those minor costs. So now that you have a glimpse into the complexity of actually implementing the drought contingency plan, staff recommends that the City of Peoria enter into the proposed agreement with the Arizona Water Banking Authority to exchange long-term storage credits. And with that, I'm available for any questions or comments you might have.
Council, any questions? Yeah, I know. I can't say any of the things I wish I could say. So instead, I'm going to say that sometimes compromise is just necessary. And that's
It
all
was
there
in
is
this
to
case,
that.
yes.
So do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Council, please vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is call to the public for non-agenda items. If you wish to address an item, if you wish to address the City Council, please complete a speaker request form and place it in the bin next to the podium, and I have received no speaker request forms. We will now move on to reports from City Manager. Mr. Tyne.
Great, thank you, Mayor and Council. I have a couple items to discuss tonight, but one unexpected item that I thought I would bring up. I did notice in the crowd we have Lisa Estrada. I wanted to recognize Lisa for some special recognition. Lisa has announced that she's moving on from the city of Peoria in order to pursue an amazing opportunity with the city of Anaheim, California. For those that don't know, Lisa has been here since 2005, first serving in a critical capacity in our intergovernmental affairs department. But soon, as time went on, along with former Deputy City Manager Susan DeLuden, really pioneered the sustainability program for the city of Peoria. Lisa's helped to raise awareness for Peoria residents and employees alike in sustainable practices. She's done outstanding work, for those that aren't aware, with the Sustainable University to teach citizens about such things as energy efficiency, sustainable landscape practices, recycling. She's done an amazing job with the Party for the Planet event, Earth Day events. She's initiated a series of environmental control investments that you all have adopted as a city council in our budgets to really look at these investments in infrastructure that would both reduce our carbon footprint but also relieve us of some economic burden long term. An amazing positive mark on the city of Peoria. We are so grateful for the dedication, the support, and the commitment to reducing the city's effect on the environment overall. We will miss Lisa so much, and I just want to make sure that we could say that publicly. One other item I did want to mention, so thank you again, Lisa. One other item I want to mention is you will see on June 6th in the morning, we wanted to do something to mark the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion, where over 160,000 Allied troops landed in Normandy in a key campaign to end the war in Europe. In honor of this significant anniversary, in honor of this anniversary, the city will be hanging a large U.S. flag, but also accompanied by a special decorative banner commemorating D-Day. These two banners on both sides of the flag will be posted on the 6th and remain in place over the weekend, and we certainly encourage all city residents to view this tribute to these brave veterans on that. So with that, as you know, the spring training session in Peoria is a great time to highlight the city to the many visitors who attend games and visit the surrounding businesses. And so we have with us Chris Calcaterra, our sports facility manager, and Blake Engbert, the Community Facilities and Recreation Manager, will present a recap of the 2019 season and present some information. I should mention Chris is our deputy manager, deputy director in that area. Thanks, Chris and Blake.
No problem. Thank you, Jeff. Mayor, council members, thank you very much for your continued support of this stadium operations here in Peoria. Tonight, we're going to give you a brief background. But before we do that, I want to recognize one of our partners in the audience tonight with our acting general manager for the Peoria Diamond Club, Roz Shanley, and also a board member, Roy Roberts, here in attendance tonight for support. Tonight, Blake and I are going to have a privilege to present you basically a brief overview of the community and economic impacts of the Peoria Spring Training and Sports Complex in the 26th spring training season. Through recent budget and livability presentations, you've heard the themed community of distinction. And I think tonight, and hopefully as we all have pride in Peoria, the Peoria Sports Complex is just one of those unique elements in our city that provide a community of distinction designation. We're going to show you just a presentation tonight on the 2019 spring training summary. Blake will run through that. We're going to have a community impact, how we affect the community inside and outside of spring training. And this past year and the year before, we've done 2 economic impact studies we're also going to share with you, as well as our annual calendar of economic impact. With that, I'll turn it over to Blake Engbert, our Parks, our Recreation and Community Facilities Manager.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for the opportunity to address you once again. 2019 was one of the more unusual spring training seasons we've hosted. While the early season started to become the new normal, with predictable results as every Cactus League facility once again recorded their smallest crowd of the season prior to March 1st. What was unpredictable was the cold and rain. Records were established for February, including the breaking of a 122-year-old mark on February 22nd, the first day of games, with a high of 47 degrees. Additionally, Major League Baseball tapped the Seattle Mariners to travel to Japan in mid-March for a promotional tour. Their departure left us with 4 vacant dates. To fill those, we programmed alternative options with limited roster games against Major League opponents and another 2 games featuring minor league players with $1 tickets available to the community. The 5th vacant date, which fell on the Friday right before spring break, we hosted a free community movie event night, so we tried to keep the calendar full. Overall, despite the perception of the Mariners ending spring training early and the complex hosting only 25 regular season games because of a rainout in addition to the 4 additional alternate games, we still drew the 4th highest total attendance in the Cactus League and dipped only 0.5% in our average daily attendance. The community angle was a recurring theme throughout the season, with our broadly popular events such as Kids Days and Dog Days, plus the return for a second time of Bike to the Ballpark, promoting both environmental awareness as well as Peoria's abundant trail system. New this year was a partnership with the library system, which included a book drive. We continued traditional events such as the Diamond Club Charity Game and Little League Day, And we also began a new partnership with the Peoria Unified School District and the Peoria Education Foundation, hosting Education Night, which was to be a celebration of local students and faculties and a fundraising opportunity through ticket sales. Unfortunately, our inaugural edition was marred by, guess, weather, and was rained out shortly after the game started, but the district was still able to host their awards reception, and we expect to make this an annual event. Another community partnership was hosting the Chamber of Commerce's Dinner at the Diamond as part of an actual spring training game with special pregame privileges on the field. Again, however, weather was an issue, and we do hope to continue that partnership as well in the future. Returning for its third year was the Resident Reward Program, which grew another nearly 12% from local residents over the previous years. Over 6,000 tickets were purchased. As a reminder, these are 25% savings per ticket available exclusively to residents of Peoria. We also maintained our commitment to offering veterans $2 daily discounts on each ticket purchased, plus continuing our in-game tradition of asking all that have served to stand to be recognized between innings of each game. As always, the Peoria Diamond Club was an integral part of spring training. They provided nearly 500 volunteers working over 16,000 hours this season in various hospitality functions at the stadium. The partnership with the Diamond Club remains one of the strongest relationships in the Cactus League, going on 26 years now. At this year's charity game, the Diamond Club announced a total of $27,000 in giving for the current grant cycle and are on track to give nearly $120,000 for the 2018-19 year. As we continue to prioritize developing and enhancing the community relationships and benefits of spring training in Peoria, here you can see a very small sample of the positive results engendered during the 2019 campaign on a wide spectrum, from the quality of our community for visitors to the quality of life for residents. With that, I'll give it back to Chris for a few minutes.
During the 2018 season, the Cactus League commissioned an economic impact study for all 10 facilities in the Cactus League. And then they broke it out into specific facilities. So we're about to provide you a brief overview of that findings that reinforce the vitality and impact that spring training has on in Peoria. This shows you the tourism impact. This is other states are over 63% with an international reach of almost 3.5% of all out-of-state patrons that visit the sports complex. These are varied by age ranges, with the age range between 25 and 44 comprising 53% of those attendees. Of note, 61% of those fans are males and 39% are females. The importance of the league when coming to Peoria and making a decision is the sole primary factor. Over 66% are coming to Peoria for spring training alone. This actually, over the 6-year period, when you look at it, it's really coupled with a couple different factors, and this is what we look at, the length of stay. So how long, when you do come to Peoria, are you staying for 1, 3, 4 nights in the packages? And by doing this, 60% visit Peoria for at least 4 seasons or longer, and then stay at least over a 3 or 4 night period of time at 43%. The total trip party expenditures reach over $1,000 a night for each of those nights. And 62% of out-of-town visitors are putting that into a hotel night and spend into Peoria local economy. The estimated direct expenditure for Peoria is $36.9 million by Arizona gross domestic product. And here you can see the varied areas where they come into in entertainment, hotel, transportation, and other factors that play into economic impact.
As with the community impact testimonials we gleaned from social media, here is a similar glance at the effects of spring training for our community from a tourism and future resident attraction and general economic impact standpoint. Of course, there is always activity outside of spring training too. In the last year, we have hosted over 20 high school age baseball tournaments and showcases, plus dozens of other niche events and festivals. The Major League partnership with the Padres and Mariners are also contributors outside of spring training, as they utilize Peoria for year-round player development. In total, over 800 players and nearly 300 staff are associated with their year-round operations, requiring accommodations for over 28,000 hotel room nights, 180 car rentals, and $1.8 million in player and staff meal per diem pay. The year-round event calendar has a tangible and measurable economic impact on par with spring training. The total impact of the sports complex in 2018, excluding spring training, were 34.6 million GDP by state, 687 jobs, and 21.3 million in labor income. These figures encompass the direct and indirect effects of both facility operations and events outside of spring training. So thank you again, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to present tonight, and we can take any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Yes, Councilmember Patena.
Thank you, Mayor. Chris, I was just wondering, the Mariners left early this year to go to Japan. Is that going to be a yearly thing, or was this a one-time deal?
That was a one-time request of Councilmember Patena. That was a one-time request by Major League Baseball. They are trying to go internationally. I think it's going to be every 3-year program. Unfortunately, the Mariners traveled to Japan about 10 years ago with the connection of the team ownership being in Japan. So we hope to see this maybe in another 10 years.
Thank you so much for all of the work that you do, not only during the month of March, but throughout the entire year, to bring so much notoriety to the city of Peoria, to bring so many tourists here, and to carry on spring training as if it was just not a big deal. Wow, you make it look easy, and we know that it is a tremendous amount of work, but it's such a great asset for our city. Really, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Blake and Chris. And lastly, we do have a short 90-second video that we wanted to highlight some of our upcoming events, including the upcoming Peoria Reads program, as well as the July 4th All-American Festival at the Peoria Sports Complex. Of course, we're very excited about the July 4th event, a family-friendly event and very affordable as well. So with that, that's all that we have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We will now move on to reports from City Council, and we'll start with Councilmember Patena.
Thank you, Mayor. On Memorial Day, we were happy to have the mayor attend the event that they have in Westbrook Village. She gave a very inspiring speech, and the people at Westbrook Village were very happy that our mayor was able to attend. Last Saturday, I attended the State of the City at Ventana Lakes. It was a pretty packed house, and it was pretty clear that they enjoyed the video and the mayor's message. Just want to say something about the video real quickly. That video was done completely in-house by our communications department, and it is really professionally done. It's amazing to see. It catches so much of what's going on in the city, and I thought they did just a tremendous job. So tonight, on the consent agenda, we voted for our council youth liaison appointments. Brighton Greathouse is going to be up here on the dais with us, and Ritika Ravindran will also be up here. In attendance tonight, we have a person who sat right here next to me a couple years ago, Maylee Acosta. Give us a wave. And Maylee is now done with her freshman year at NAU and enjoying summer break. So thanks for being here. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Finn.
I just have two quick comments. I want to tell Lisa,
good luck. I wanted to boo when they said that you were leaving, but I held that back and refrained. So thank you for your service here, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And the D-Day flags, I love them. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I just can't tell you how pleased I am that we're going to do something like that. So that's great. That's all I have.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Binsbacher.
Thank you, Mayor. Lisa, congratulations to you. Very sad for us, but grateful that we had you here for the time that we did and that you made the mark that you have made. I'm especially grateful to you for really taking your education outreach and really making it happen in the Mesquite District without a facility there. And the feedback was tremendous, and people are still looking forward to it. But you really, truly have made a mark here, and I wish you all the best in Anaheim. So thank you, and congratulations. I also want to congratulate Thomas Atkins and Jenna Carrico. Yay, the session is wrapped up. But everywhere I go, I hear such positive, and people that I talk to in that arena, I hear such positive feedback on the representation that Peoria has there and the work that you all are doing. And I was paying closer attention this year, even more so than usual, and just really saw firsthand what you have to put into it to represent Peoria, and the relationships that you form and just how important those are, not just during session, but all year round. But thank you for all the work that you all did. The State of the City, I have been to 2 of those events, and very well received. Interesting to see what's happening in the Peoria Community Center versus in Trilogy. Different needs, but all well received by the citizens, so interested in what you had to say in your fantastic video. So far, the whole format, I think, is going over really well. It's a huge hit. Also, congratulations to Blake Englert and Chris Calcaterra and the Peoria Diamond Club for another successful season. 26 years, it's hard to believe. I remember when that all came together, but you all are making amazing memories there for our citizens, but it's also proven to truly be a community asset with a tremendous return on investment, and the numbers show that clearly. So a lot does go into it, and we really appreciate all you do, and especially the local promotions that you offer for citizens. Just reminds them how important they are to us. So thanks for all of that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Edwards?
Thank you, Mayor. Lisa, best of luck in Anaheim. Hope you enjoy your stay over there, and make sure that you learn all you can about transit, because you're going to get to know the freeways very well over there. You think traffic's bad here, you've got a rude awakening. I had the honor of being invited over on Memorial Day to the Ventana Lakes Yacht Club and partake in their Veterans Day event. I just want to thank the newly formed Veterans Board at Ventana Lakes for inviting me. It was a great event, and heard from some speakers from the Trilogy Veterans Board, and I want to thank Vice Mayor Binsbacher for hooking those 2 organizations up, because I think what you were doing or what they're doing in Trilogy is going to be mirrored over in Ventana Lakes. So I look forward to seeing some good things out of that organization. Want to do a shout out to the Peoria Fire Department. You guys did a bang-up job over at the Peoria High School pool on Memorial Day. You guys did a free event. You did some water safety awareness along with SRP and Sonic. There was a lot of giveaways and just bringing awareness for pool safety. Just a reminder, now that school is out, make sure that you watch your kids around water. That split-second distraction can lead to terrible things, and we just don't need that. On the 28th, I went to an adapted theater performance over at TheaterWorks, and they did Jungle Book. It was really phenomenal to watch the 22 cast members perform this to a sold-out crowd, by the way. It was just a great performance, and I look forward to more programs being done through the adaptive program. And then finally, Mayor, your State of the City at Ventana Lakes was extremely well received. almost to a packed house. And I know your roadshow is coming to an end, but the residents really are grateful for you bringing the awareness and what we're doing here at the city to the residents. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
that's all I had.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hunt.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'll mirror, Lisa, the comments. I will feel such a hole in my heart having you and your beautiful family gone. Sal's hot dogs, I mean, how can that be replaced, right? You have made individually such an impact, such a contribution to our city in just such a large way. I hope you really realize you're kind of quiet about it and kind of under the surface there, but we really, really appreciate all you've done and the awareness you've brought to all levels of sustainability, including our solar over all our parking lots. You're just amazing. I can't understand why you want to go to California, but it's not just the traffic. But anyway, really good luck and come back often. Maylee, welcome. Maylee was one of our youth liaisons, and I think we made an impact on you for you to come back on your vacation, back to see us, and you're always welcome. Thanks to our firefighters, the ones who went out west, those little desert fires that were probably man-made. What a surprise for us here in the desert, and thank you so much. Please express that back to the other guys, that we really appreciate Peoria being involved, even though it was quite a ways west. I had a community meeting last week down here at the community center in which we educated community members, anybody who was interested in coming on our downtown, our Old Town plan. And speaking of Old Town, you may see it disappearing before your eyes. It's now you see the old buildings, now you don't. In order to bring things to life, sometimes you have to take some things out. So you'll be seeing a lot of changes over the next few weeks and months in Old Town. Just hang in there with us. It's going to be really adaptive reuse on a major scale. Mayor, thank you so much for always leading the Peoria Reads program. I know as a teacher and having brought my children up through the grades, what they do in the summer is so critical to their success in the next school year. You just can't stop the education for a month and a half and swim and baseball and all that stuff and not do anything with your brain. And I think Peoria has one of the best summer reading programs. I was at the main library last, I think it was Thursday night. Had to be 10,000 very tiny kids all dressed up. I mean, it felt like 10,000. I was scared. All in costumes and face painting and doing crafts and projects, but every one of them took a book out. I was privileged to judge the costume contest, and that was really fun. I want to take just a moment to welcome some new members to our community. Down in Varney, we have a new Habitat for Humanity home that was dedicated on Saturday to that new family, and it's a mother and her son. They came from California, where they could not afford to live any longer, and moved here, and took 2 years for them to work through the Habitat program. And I want everybody to understand Habitat is not a handout, it's a hand up. And those wonderful people, they're so appreciative, and they will have a mortgage on that house, but they have put in 2 years of sweat equity in order to be allowed to have that home. So it's just, the Acacia District has over 100 Habitat homes, and I'm so proud of our community for allowing this great group to help so many people that need affordable housing. And I think that's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to I did attend another State of the City with the mayor, and I wanted to tell her thank you, because I've been to a lot of different cities in Arizona and other states, and you usually get to see one State of the City if you're lucky and you get invited. She took it out to our people and our citizens, and that shows that she has the pulse of the city, that she's out there talking. It's all one Peoria. And so I'm really grateful to you, Mayor, for doing that. It meant a lot.
Thank you.
And I was proud to get to introduce you, so thank you. Lisa Estrada, I am very sorry I don't get to work with you. You know, we've had instances where we've crossed paths in sustainability. I've always thought the world of you and what you do and what you've done for this city. I wish you well going to Anaheim. I do have a little bit of experience with Anaheim. I was their first female explorer for their police department. So, and I went to, grade school and junior high school there. They have a lot of good people there, but you will definitely be missed here. So I just wanted to tell you congratulations on your new position. And then last but not least, I wanted to let the residents know in the Pine District on the 12th that we are getting together with the different departments in the city to answer your questions, to get to know the different departments, to know how they can serve you. So it is on June 12th from 6 to 7:30. So come and meet the different, the police, the fire, parks, streets. It'll be a good chance for everybody to get to know each other and engage. And this is everybody's City Hall, and it'll be here at City Hall. So I hope to see you soon on the 12th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. This evening, we had the privilege of being able to honor our previous leaders in the city of Peoria with regards to the strong foundation that they have put in place with regards to our water infrastructure and planning and diversity. And because of what they've done in the past, we have been able now to build on that for the future and for the residents still to come here and the part of our city that still is yet to be built. So that same kind of structure was put in place by Lisa Estrada in the sustainability area. We had not had anybody in sustainability prior to Lisa being there, so everything that we have, all of our foundation, all of our formulation so far that we will build on in the future is because of you. So we thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to grow that program and to be able to serve the rest of our citizens as they come to Peoria. They're leaving California, by the way, to come to Arizona. But we do wish you the very best and thank you for everything you've done for Peoria. And with that, we are adjourned.